Yo legends! Welcome back to the channel. Grab your headphones and lock in, because today's story is on another level. Want the next chapter? Drop a comment below, and if the legend continues, I'm bringing it straight to you. Disclaimer: I do not claim ownership of this story. All rights belong to the original creators. Note: I'm constantly tweaking the settings to make it as immersive as possible. What if the smartest man in Marvel was insane? Chapter 1: My 10 Years Dedicated to Stark. New York, Cornell Presbyterian Hospital. Dr. Cornell, hello. I have been feeling mentally exhausted recently. After waking up, my whole body is still very sore. This seriously affects my work and makes me very distressed. Can you give me some medicine? You know Stark Industries is going through a major layoff right now, and I don't want to be fired. Dr. Cornell, you know, the salaries in the Stark Industrial Building are really high, and the whole of New York has never been better. An Asian young man wearing a black suit, tie, and a pair of gold glasses held his head in his hands and said, very distressed, Jake Zhu, there's really nothing wrong with you. You're just too stressful at work. I've never seen a young man as hardworking as you, a young man with self-discipline. You are too serious about your work, a little too serious. Since you graduated from New York University, look at how many awards you have won. The youngest director of Stark Industries, the representative of the 10 outstanding young people in New York, representative of the World Peace Conference, vice president of the Earth Ecological Environment Protection Association, and New York City Councilman. I don't know why you are worried that you will be fired by Tony. Tony has said many times to me that Stark can be without his uncle, but he must not be without you, Jake Zhu. Dr. Cornell spread his hands helplessly and said, Dr. Cornell, no dog will believe what the capitalists say. As long as you have no use value and don't work hard enough, sooner or later, you will be thrown into the garbage like the directors who have been dismissed from Stark Industrial Building over the years are still less. The Asian youth held his head and said in great pain, Jake Zhu, you are right, capitalists are indeed that virtue. But Tony is different. Tony really treats you as a close friend, good brother. You can try to believe him. Okay, today's conversation, that's it. I'll prescribe some anti-fatigue medicine for you, and I hope it will work for you. Jake weak, but I still hope you can think about it. Take it easy, go to more pool parties, and do some exercise with young models, which will reduce your fatigue. According to what I heard from Stark, you have never had any experience in love or sports since you were a child. A 28-year-old boy like you is unique in the whole of New York. No, it should be said that it is unique in the entire United States portion. Dr. Cornell handed over the prescription and said jokingly, Thank you, Dr. Cornell. The Asian youth took the medicine list, stood up, bowed, and said very sincerely then. He clenched the prescription and turned to leave. Dr. Cornell looked at the figure of the Asian youth leaving, smiled and said, You have such achievements at such a young age, and he is very humble and polite. Which boss would dismiss such a young man? Cornell Hospital main entrance. Zhou Ran tightly held the medicine prescribed by Dr. Cornell, which was his life-saving straw. He is a traveler. When he first heard Stark Industries' name on campus, he knew it was Marvel. This is a world where the poor rely on mutation and the rich rely on technology. But the poor rely on mutation, and most of them died in experiments. Rich people rely on technology because they have incredibly smart brains. Zhou Ran, who graduated from the Department of Business Administration of New York University, has nothing to do with technology. He doesn't have a golden finger like the system. He had to devote himself to Stark Company, and he would dedicate his life to Stark Company. Iron Man will protect him only if he does something in Stark Corporation and becomes an indispensable figure in the Stark Industrial Building. Currently he is a director of Stark Corporation, is a new director. But anyone who has watched Marvel knows that Stark is not peaceful. Tony has a bad uncle Obadiah, who is always thinking about usurping power and becoming the boss of the company. The era of superheroes that Iron Man was born is about to come. Once Tony disappears, Zhou Ran will have a very difficult time these days. As a director of the company, Tony's good brother and friend, Obadiah, will definitely find a way to get him out of the company, even let him completely disappear from this world. After all, Obadiah even dared to kidnap and kill his own nephew, let alone an outsider like him. So in the month before Tony is about to be kidnapped, he has to work even harder to make this smartphone project a success as soon as possible. In this way, Obadiah is reluctant to do anything to his cash cow. Smartphones are an epoch-making product. Hi Jake, what did Dr. Cornell say? On the street in front of the hospital, a delicate and capable woman with freckles and a black suit opened the car window and asked, "Yes, Miss Potts." "Doctor." Cornell said, "I'm fine. The work pressure is too high," and he also suggested a very unreliable way to let me participate in more pool parties. "By the way, why is Miss Potts here?" Zhou Ran approached the car, sighed lightly, and said, "Tony, let me pick you up. I'll give you a day off today and let me take you for a ride and a spin." Paz smiled and said, "Why are you on vacation? Today is not a week of worship." Potts drove the car back to the company. "This is the director's order." Zhou Ran got in the car and said seriously, "Oh, Jake, Tony said that the company's performance has been very good recently and reward the company's employees for taking a holiday." Posy shrugged and laughed. "What? How could Tony do such a jerk? Is my smartphone team on vacation too?" Zhou Ran gritted his teeth, his tone a little angry. "Yes, it's all on vacation. Jake, you really should take a break. You must know that we work to enjoy life better, not to be slaves of life. I have been in the company for 5 years, and you haven't given me a single day. Take your own vacation. Is there any place you want to go?" Posy smiled and asked. "Yes, the place I want to go is Stark Industrial Building. I will dedicate my life to Stark Corporation, call Tony, cancel my project team's vacation, work overtime today. I will give them 5 times bonus." Zhou Ran nodded and said very solemnly, "Jake, but your project team has not missed a vacation in half a year. Chief Engineer Professor Ace has not been home for half a year. Although you are very kind to him, he has secretly submitted 3 resignation applications. It's time to decompress them." Paz frowned and said, "These bastards. The mortgage and car loan have not been paid off, and the Moonlight Clan still wants to take a vacation. They have no dreams at all. What a loser." Zhou Ran took a deep breath and said indignantly, "Cough cough, that Jake, I haven't paid off my mortgage and car loan. After all, you are the only person in the company who buys a house and a car in full." Posy stomped on the accelerator hard and said a little embarrassedly, "Paz, you are different from them. You are Tony's little pepper. He likes you very much and can't live without you. The entire company in the future will be yours." Zhou Ran shook his head and said with a smile, Chapter 2, Why Black Widow Be My Secretary. "What? You said Tony likes me? How is that possible? He slept so much that every young model had to keep me at the door. Treating me like this is called liking?" Paz felt that the whole world view was impacted. Tony liked her. Did he like her like this? "Boss, you know that before you came, Tony changed his secretary more often than he did. When I first came to the company, he had a total of 18 secretaries. He had slept with all of them, and now you are the only secretary who has never been slept, and he likes you." Zhou Ran pushed up his glasses and smiled. Don't think I don't know why those secretaries resigned. During the day they are forced to work in the company by you, and at night they are forced to work by Tony's playboy. Who can stand the days of being worked every day?" Posy rolled his eyes indignantly. "Well, even so, I'm pretty sure Tony likes you. Wait a minute, Potts, where are you going to drive?" "That's not the way to the company." Zhou Ran looked at the road ahead, frowned and asked, "Take you to Tony, didn't Dr. Cornell say to let you go to the pool party?" take you to end your damn brooding career. Paz stepped on the accelerator hard, slammed the steering wheel, and a handsome and elegant came, smiled. Boz, stop, I'm not going there, I'm going back. Zhou Ran shook his head fiercely. It's too late. The door has been locked by me, you can't escape. Long Island, New York. East Hampton. This is the most luxurious sea view villa area in New York. A villa starts at $75 million. Villa No. 1 is holding a luxurious pool party. The host of the party is Tony, the chairman of Stark Industries Group, a frequent visitor in Time magazine, the most influential capitalist, young and rich enough to rival the country. Smart and wise, like a gentleman's character, let him become the focus and center wherever he goes. It's not a man, it's a walking dollar. At this moment, Tony was wearing swimming trunks, standing in the center, holding a red wine glass, looking at the white, slender mermaids in the pool, and the gentlemen of the upper class who were glaring on the shore, and laughed. Ladies, gentlemen, I just got a call about a heavyweight coming to the party. Guess who he's? Forget it, let me tell you. My good brother Jake Xu will be here soon. Beauties present, cheers. This is a very attractive man. He is the youngest director of the Stark Group. He is a member of the New York City government. He is a representative of the 10 outstanding young people in New York. He's as zealous as a medieval knight, he's as graceful as an ancient Greek aristocrat, he's as strong as a Roman gladiator. There's no better man in the world. I, Tony Stark, are in front of him too. Be willing to bow down. The most important thing is that he is still a brood. He still has the most precious chastity. Which beautiful lady can win him tonight? I, Tony Stark. Give him $100 million. After listening to Tony Stark's words, the young models in the audience boiled. There was a warm light in their eyes, and they must take down that man. Be bold and make the already open swimsuit more open. A little more reserved, he also untied a button on his chest. A low-key and luxurious Rolls-Royce turned on its lights and slowly drove into Villa No. 1. At the party, a sexy woman with burgundy hair and a white swimsuit saw this, touched her ears, and whispered, "Report to the director. The target person has appeared and is in the car." Hidden in the sky on an aircraft carrier. Nick Fury, the director of S.H.E.L.D. His only remaining eye gleamed, and said coldly, "Come close to him, hide it, and check it out. If those two are really the same person, that would be really terrifying. Now, Tasha, get rid of the communication equipment. If it is him, it will definitely be discovered." After speaking, Nick Fury picked up the 2 photos on the table and compared them. S-Class murder clown, evil and chaotic. Crazy and aggressive personality, likes to laugh, high IQ, unknown superpower, strong self-healing ability, not afraid of pain, good at all weapons, playing with the enemy's psychology, has created many cruel and inhumane slaughter, aimless killing, extremely dangerous. S-level protection object Zhou Ran, the most influential youth in the United States, World Charity Ambassador, World Peace Ambassador, Vice President of the World Ecological Protection Association, Director of Stark Industries Group, New York City Government Member, Vice President of the National Financial Association, Professor Emeritus of New York University, the initiator of the Smartphone Project, and a person who has a great influence on the future. In these 2 photos, one is evil and the other is good. One is evil and the other is good. Taken apart, you can't see anything. When put together, you will find that the eyes of the 2 photos are very similar. Nick Fury lit his pipe, took a deep breath, and murmured, "Hopefully not alone. If it were alone, it would be too bad. Hope Natasha finds out. Hey, Jake, I'm so happy to have you here." Tony put his arm around Zhou Ran's shoulder, then drank the red wine in the glass and said with a big smile, "Tony, you know, I don't like occasions like this." Zhou Ran raised his glass and took a sip and said very unhappily, "Jake, do you see who is as serious as you? It's not even 30 years old and he has lived like an old man, and I've never seen such a big brood." Tony stretched out his hand to touch the butt of the young model who passed by and said with a smile, "My dream is to dedicate my life to Stark Industries, to make it the focus of the world and make an impact on the world. Other than that, I'm not interested in anything," Zhou Ran said seriously. "Then your dream, Jake, has come true. Stark Industries has become the focus of the world and has influenced the whole world." "Wait, you don't like women, you like men. Don't you? Maybe he likes me, Tony. Or keep saying that he will dedicate his life to Stark Industries." Tony dodged, staying far away from Zhou Ran, his eyes widened, as if he had discovered a terrifying secret. "I like women, but I don't like men. Look at your appearance, unshaven beard, huge chest hair, and beer belly. Where does this confidence come from?" Zhou Ran gently squeezed the wine glass in his hand. Cracks appeared on the wine glass, and he was very speechless. "It's fine if you don't like men, but I'm afraid that your strong body will press on me. Since you like women, there are all women here, so don't hurry up. These beautiful ladies, you just have to wave your hands boldly to show with your strong physical strength. Taking away 7 or 8 is no problem," Tony said with a wretched smile. "Hello, is this Jake Zhu?" A burgundy-haired, sexy woman in a white swimsuit leaned over and greeted Zhou Ran with a smile. Seeing this, Tony gave Zhou Ran a wink and left with a smile. This woman who came over is definitely the most beautiful and sexy woman in the audience. He has watched Mr. Tony for a long time. This beautiful lady, do you have anything to do with me?" Zhou Ran looked at the very beautiful pure lust face, frowned, and was very puzzled. "This is the Black Widow, how could she talk to me? Shouldn't her target be Tony? What are you looking for me for?" "Hello, let me introduce myself. My name is Ellie. I have worked in Hammer Industries and Osborne Industries. I have 5 years of experience as a secretary. I can do any job properly. Can you give me a chance?" Natasha unbuttoned a button on her chest, smiled and said politely, "Chapter 3: The Black Widow Lives in My Villa." "Ms. Ellie, I really don't need a secretary. A secretary is useless to me. It will only cause trouble. No matter how troublesome the job is, I can do it alone." Zhou Ran's eyes stayed on Natasha's chest for 3 seconds, swallowed, shook his head vigorously, and decisively refused. "Mr. Jake, can you really do anything?" Natasha took a small step forward, reached out to hold Zhou Ran's tie, and lowered it a little, then raised her head, stuck out her tongue, licked her lips, and said playfully, "Oh, Miss Ellie, what are you doing? You have no chance with me here." Zhou Ran laid down Natasha's hand, took a step back, opened the distance, and said with a serious face, although Natasha's actions just now were very tempting, her discharge-like eyes and soft voice made him secretly happy. But he still refused. "There is absolutely nothing good about having a relationship with this woman. To be associated with her is to be associated with S.H.E.L.D, and to be associated with S.H.E.L.D is to be associated with death." Hiss, but it should be said that this woman is really energetic. "It's time for me to find a woman, but not such a dangerous woman. With my financial resources and status, the pretty girls in New York should be almost random. There's no need to take such a risk." "Mr. Jake, what are you thinking? I'm just helping you tie your tie. You're not thinking about something you shouldn't be thinking about." Natasha blinked and smiled innocently. Damn, this woman is too cruel. As expected of a Black Widow. This acting is incredible. The ability to pick fire is also one of the best. It seems that she is eyeing me. Is it trying to steal the secrets of the smartphone? Or do you want to use my identity to steal Stark's stuff? Don't care. Looking at her appearance, it should be the king who eats the scale and is determined. Then leave you. Anyway, I'm just an ordinary person. There is no place to monitor, afraid of the ball. Zhou Ran took a deep breath, looked into Natasha's eyes, and asked seriously, "Miss Ellie, do you really want to be my secretary?" Natasha nodded. "Then you better be prepared to be fired at any time. My secretary is not that easy to do." Hearing this, Natasha smiled and said, Mr. Jake, I have work experience in Hammer Industries and Osborne Industries. You must believe in my ability to work. She, Natasha, the agent of S.H.E.L.D., Black Widow, is not an ordinary agent. Not only can she easily defeat dozens of men with her good skills, but she is also very good at catching men. Very good at manipulating men. Hold them tight. So the man in front of him, as long as he is a normal man, will definitely not be able to resist the temptation of my Black Widow. Natasha thought so. Okay, congratulations, Miss Ellie. You have been hired and you will start working in the Stark Industrial Building tomorrow. Zhou Ran nodded and said, Then boss, I have a request. Can you agree? Natasha blinked and asked with a smile. As long as I don't ask too much, I will agree. The employees under my opponent are very responsible. In the entire Stark Industrial Building, Jake Zhu is the most conscientious. The turnover rate of my employees has remained the same. 0. Zhou Ran said with great confidence that what he said was indeed the truth. In this capitalist country, all bosses are exploiting their employees, but he, Jake Zhu, is the most humane. As long as you work overtime, the salary will increase at will. Do you think the company's salary is low, and the overtime pay given by Stark Industries Group is low, right? Then I'll pay Jake Zhu out of my own pocket. How many times do you want overtime pay? 3 times, yes. 5 times, yes. 10 times, no problem. As long as you can show your worth, I will give you 100 times more. That boss, can I live in your house temporarily? I'll leave when I find a place to live. I'm very obedient and capable. I can do laundry for you, clean the house, and even that can be considered. Natasha grabbed Zhou Ran's hand, blinked her big watery eyes, and said pitifully like a well-behaved kitten, Stark will arrange staff apartments for you. 5 years ago, Stark passed my proposal and built a staff building. There are all kinds of facilities in it. Gym, swimming pool, library, barber, shopping mall, supermarket. Everything has everything to meet any of your needs. Zhou Ran shook his head and decisively refused. Being able to promise the Black Widow Natasha to be his secretary was already the biggest concession he had made. No matter how strong his willpower is, it is impossible for him to remain unmoved when he is alone in the same room. Especially Black Widow is one of the most beautiful women in the Marvel Universe. Who knows what the abacus of S.H.E.L.D. What did you pay attention to? This bunch of wicked things, each one is more black-bellied than the other, and one has more hearts than the other. You can't let agents live in your own home. Natasha frowned, a little difficult. This man actually refused such a luscious temptation. If you can't follow him around the clock, you can't watch him carefully to see if he is the S-class murder clown. It's not that Natasha hasn't sneaked into this man's house, but she really didn't find anything. His house is too normal. Clean and tidy, everything is in order. There is no hidden room. But it is too normal to be suspicious. A single man's home cannot be so clean. It's impossible to be the same for a full month. The director's order is to keep an eye on him 24 hours a day and not make him feel alert, so that he will be exposed. If you continue to entangle, as long as you are not a fool, you will definitely be on guard. A beautiful and sexy woman has to live in a man's house for something. Just when Natasha was very annoyed, she suddenly heard words that made her very happy. Hi, beautiful Miss Ellie, your bold request, I, Tony Stark, agreed, and you will live in Jake's house from tonight. Tony put his arms around a beautiful and sexy blonde model, raised the red wine glass in his hand, and said with a smile, Tony, this is not in line with the company's regulations. The employees don't have accommodation, and the company will arrange it. Zhou Ran frowned and said unpleasantly, Isn't it simple? Give her a job as a personal assistant, so she can live in your house with integrity. Tony pinched the blonde model's butt fiercely and said with a big laugh, The company no longer has the job of a personal assistant. in order to prevent the senior executive from having an underground affair with the assistant and stealing the company's secrets. It also prevents those in the financial department from using the company's money to support their personal assistant. This proposal of mine you passed Tony 3 years ago. Zhou Ran pushed his glasses and said with a smile, I, Tony, is the chairman of Stark Industries and I have the highest veto power and I can abolish this system right now. So, Jake, just accept it secretly. I think you two don't want your proposal to be rejected. Tony gritted his teeth and growled angrily. In this way, under the order of the chairman Tony Stark, the Black Widow can finally live in Zhou Ran's villa with integrity and monitor him 24 hours a day. Chapter 4 Black Widow gets in my car. Okay, Tony, you're the boss. I've agreed to what you said. Then, Miss Ellie, just live in my house. Zhou Ran sighed helplessly, only to die. Thank you, big boss. Natasha was very happy that she could live in Zhou Ran's room as she wished, and started 24 hours of underground detention. Tony looked at Zhou Ran with an unhappy face, pushed away the blonde model in his arms, put his arms around Zhou Ran's shoulder, smiled slyly, and whispered in his ear, Hi, Jake. How is your chairman treating you well? Let the most beautiful and sexy Miss Ellie in the audience be your personal assistant. Have fun. Zhou Ran gritted his teeth and said in a low voice, Tony, do you see how happy I am? I'm so angry right now. Tony rolled his eyes, smiled and said, Jake, I have been watching you secretly just now, but you looked at her chest for 3 seconds and swallowed 2 saliva, which has proved that you have desire for her. Oh, I also know that you want to find a pure girl and have a real love. But that doesn't stop you from sleeping with her tonight. The women who come here are all extreme money worshippers. They are very sensible. You just need to give them enough dollars and they won't bother you. How about Jake? Did I gain insight into your thoughts? You still have the ancient noble character of the East in your bones. This is the character you are responsible for once you have exercised with a certain woman. But it doesn't matter here. You are completely free from responsibility. So, Jake, play it boldly. It doesn't matter if you kill people, you can say that I, Tony Stark, did it. Zhou Ran heard the words, the corner of his mouth could not help but twitch. Tony, misunderstood special. Where do I have any precious character? I just want to get all the favorability of Stark Industries, including your chairman, before you become Iron Man. So that I can be an integral part of your Tony's life. That's how Iron Man will protect me. Then someone in Zhou can go out and wave at will. Really a bit speechless. But these words can't be told to Tony. Zhou Ran had no choice but to look like you had guessed everything, and nodded embarrassedly. Seeing Zhou Ran nod, Tony let go of Zhou Ran, left in a hurry, and quickly walked to the center of the party. He's going to help his good brother Jake out of all the troubles. Tony picked up the microphone and shouted with great joy, Gentlemen, ladies, let's congratulate this lady. A huge light hit the Black Widow Natasha. This light is made up of the lights of 20 helicopters in the sky and 100 luxury cars on the ground. Black Widow was the center of attention. Tony's words continued. Congratulations to this beautiful and sexy Miss Ellie for winning my Tony Stark's best brother Jake. Winning the youngest director of Stark Industries. Winning the youngest counselor in New York City. She's going to get a check for $100 million. This is my Tony Stark reward for her. Let's congratulate her. Ladies, put down your wine glasses and scream. Gentlemen, raise your palms, stop wiping, stop stroking your ass, and drum up hard. Cheer. Tonight's party. It will be the center of New York. Ah. Ah. Ah, clap. 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 The audience burst into warm applause and screamed violently. This is Tony Stark's party. One can become famous overnight. A miracle place that can earn $100 million a night. Black Widow suddenly felt so embarrassed. As a secret agent, it is estimated that she will be published in Time magazine tomorrow. She is still the one who doesn't code, as sexy as she is. But she really is a secret agent. Really can't be famous. This is known by the director, and my salary will definitely be deducted. Wait, salary? Did I just get $100 million? 100 million to be famous. The director knows it should be no big deal. Zhou Ran covered his face in embarrassment. What the hell? Can you say such a thing? Isn't this a little too striking? Too pompous? This is too pretentious. If you take me down, you will be rewarded with $100 million. Gee, it's Tony. So rich. The Bannote ability is really awesome. I worked hard for 10 years, and I didn't take a day off to save $1 billion. Zhou Ran looked at the increasingly chaotic scene, the increasingly enthusiastic scene, and hurriedly took Black Widow's hand and ran out. Looking at Zhou Ran's back, Tony took off his shirt and laughed. Jake, the hero tonight, can't wait to take his heroine, Miss Ellie, to exercise. So, gentlemen and ladies, let's get started too. Find your love, my love, is that, and that. Can you spend this beautiful night with me, Tony? Tony stretched out his hand with a smile and hooked his fingers to a few blonde mermaids in the pool whose butts were larger than their shoulders. The three girls who were ordered screamed in disbelief. They felt that their bodies were softened in an instant and wet in an instant. Paz looked at the scene in front of him, shook his head fiercely, clenched his fists, and murmured, "Sure enough, Jake is lying. That's definitely not what it's like to like someone." "Yeah, Pazzy, what are you thinking? What are your expectations? How could Tony like you?" Pazzy shook his head sharply. "Little Pepper, you are responsible for guarding my door tonight, and no one will look at it. The president is not here. No matter what is important, you have to wait until tomorrow afternoon. No one can disturb the beautiful night between me and my sister." Tony's words reached Pazzy's ears. "Okay, boss," Paz said with a cold face. On the streets of New York, a low-key Rolls-Royce is driving fast. Zhou Ran held the steering wheel with both hands, slammed on the accelerator, and drifted 3 consecutive turns at a speed of 200 mph. This trick is called drain cornering. From the corner of his eye, he glanced at the flushed Black Widow sitting in the co-pilot, smiled, and said, "Tomorrow we may be going to Times Magazine together. Won't your family mind?" Although money worship is it's popular, but every parent should not want their daughter to be labeled as a gold worshipper. You know, as long as you enter my house, even if there is nothing between us, in the eyes of outsiders you will be labeled as having been played by me. So, it's hard for me to understand your behavior. Hearing this, Natasha lightly flipped her hair, turned her head sideways, looked at Zhou Ran's face, and couldn't help but chuckle and said, "Oh, boss, relax your heart, I'm an orphan. I don't have parents. Also, he can win the most outstanding young man in the United States, the youngest director of the Stark Group, and at the age of 28, he is still a young chicken. A good man like boss who has always maintained his chastity, unique in the whole of America. Even if I have parents, if they know it, they will applaud violently, praise and sing praises to me with incomparably nice words." Chapter 5. Miss Ellie, why are you wearing my shirt? Hearing Black Widow's words, Zhou Ran couldn't help but froze for a while, and he really couldn't fight back. In this country where money is paramount, it is true that money worship is not something to be ashamed of. The richer you are, the more attractive you are. This charm is called Bannote ability. Zhou Ran sighed, stepped on the accelerator hard, and with a violent back push, drove towards his home, Queens, New York. There is a place where Spider-Man will often move in the future, and it is also a relatively least dangerous area. After all, Spider-Man is equal to 20 Black Widows, no more. Queens, 28, 29, 30 Ingram Street. This is Zhou Ran's home, occupying the 3rd super villa. Lead Natasha into his big house. Zhou Ran pushed on the gold wire glasses, smiled, and said, "Miss Ellie, there are various types and styles of rooms here. You can choose and live as you like, as long as you don't sleep with me in the same room and on the same bed." "Han." Hearing this, Natasha blinked and said pitifully, "But a house as big as boss is empty. It's the first time I live in it, and I'll be scared." "If you're afraid, Then you can live next door to me. This is my biggest concession. Don't make any further progress. Zhou Ran frowned and said angrily with a straight face. Follow my great boss. Natasha nodded. Then like a girl, she stuck out her tongue playfully and said sweetly with winking eyes. AI lie, hurry up and change into a suit. How can anyone still wear a swimsuit in the house? Zhou Ran's eyes stayed in front of Natasha's chest for 3 seconds, and then yelled extremely loudly. He can't stand it anymore. Black Widow looks so sexy in a white swimsuit. Looking further, Jake Shu may turn into a midnight werewolf. Okay, boss, but I have to take a shower first. Natasha reached out and touched Zhou Ran's incomparably strong chest muscles and said with a smile. Then she threw a wink and turned away. HMPH, sure enough, no one can resist the temptation of the old lady. Natasha came to the bathroom, turned on the tap and turned the water to the loudest. Quietly use your ears to listen to the sounds outside the bathroom. After 3 minutes, she took a deep breath. He pulled down a button on his chest, pressed it lightly, and tapped the Morse code with his slender fingers. This is a tiny radio station, hidden in the sky on an aircraft carrier. S.H.E.L.D. Nick Fury, who was dozing, suddenly opened his eyes, his ears began to move, and he listened to the Morse code from Black Widow, a senior agent of S.H.E.L.D. Director, starting today, apply for a month of heavy rain here in Queens. The time must be at night, and there must be a huge thunder. Looking at this inexplicable message, Nick Fury was stunned, and there was confusion in the only one left eye. What are you doing, Black Widow? What a special application for a month of heavy rain. Do you know how much this kind of thing costs? Nick Fury's mouth twitched involuntarily. Our Homeland Strategic Defense Attack and Logistics Support Agency has been blacklisted by Congress in order to build this air base. Where are you going to ask for money? Nick Fury took a deep breath, took out his mobile phone, made a call, and said with a smile, Hey, is that Professor Charles? My name is Nick Fury. You should have heard my name. Inside the Mutant Academy. There was a worried look on Charles' face. Nick Fury, why did this evil star call again? Could it be another young mutant who did something bad? He took a deep breath. He said slowly, Mr. Director, what's the matter? You know, our Xavier School for Gifted Youth has always been very disciplined. Nick Fury smiled and said, Of course, I know that Professor Charles is a very kind person. I'm here to tell you some news, good news. Charles asked with a trembling voice, Is that what happened? The Mutant Registration Act was established to protect mutants. That's right, Professor Charles, I can choose to abstain or reject this bill. After all, you know it's very complicated. This world is still the world of ordinary people, but Mr. Director, if you have any requests, just mention them. Charles heard the words and said with a smile. He was smart and understood the idea of the black marinated egg in an instant. Didn't he just ask our X-Men for something and be embarrassed to speak? Let the X-Men storm come to New York. The Iceman will come, and Cyclops will come too. Just these 3 for the time being. Nick Fury tapped the table and laughed. Lord Director, what happened? Did Magneto go to New York? Or is there an unstoppable enemy? Charles widened his eyes and asked in great surprise. These are the high-end combat power of the X-Men. Queens, New York needs a month of heavy rainfall. Iceman creates cold air before heavy rainfall. Storm Girl is responsible for wind, rain, and thunder. Cyclops uses lasers to simulate lightning. Be realistic enough, Nick Fury said very seriously. The reason for such a pomp is to rain? Professor Charles asked in confusion. If you shouldn't inquire, don't inquire, and take care of your mutant affairs. Nick Fury hung up. Professor Charles was stunned. What happened? Why is he in such a hurry? What's wrong with New York? It seems to use mental power to take a look, but now is an extraordinary period, so I can't do that. Once they mentally check out New York, those people will put on mutants. Mutants are horrible, they can see inside. The old man in the wheelchair, he hypnotized us. I can't stand Charles. Charles sighed and mentally told Storm, Iceman, and Cyclops about the mission. The three of them were confused, got on a fighter plane overnight, and went to New York. Damn, let us superheroes go to the rain? What's the situation? At 2 o'clock in the morning, there was a heavy rainstorm in Queens, New York, and the lightning and thunder were very scary. The weather is a bit outrageous. It is obviously summer, but at the moment it is so cold that people are sneezing. Black Widow looked at the heavy rain outside and immediately got up from the bed with a smile on the corner of her mouth. Boom, boom, boom. A loud knock on the door woke Zhou Ran, who was sleeping soundly. He gritted his teeth, got off the bed, turned on the light angrily, and walked towards the door. I'm going to kick this damn female agent out of my house. She seriously affected my rest. Zhou Ran opened the door. Natasha was wearing a wide white shirt, her eyes were foggy, and there were 2 tears on her beautiful face. She looked at Zhou Ran pitifully and said, Boss, the thunder outside is so loud, I'm so scared, I don't dare to sleep. Zhou Ran was a little numb. He looked at the Black Widow dressed like this, and slowly said, Miss Ellie, why are you wearing my shirt? You're burning. Chapter 6. The Clown. I really want to kill this damn woman. Natasha trotted forward, a ball hit someone, and she threw herself into Zhou Ran's arms, crying, Boss, I'm really scared. Let me live here tonight. Come on. Look at the lightning outside. Crack sound. A huge red lightning flashed across the window. Zhou Ran stared at the huge lightning that streaked across the sky and was stunned. Special. Don't say it. It's so terrifying. Zhou Ran sighed, rubbed his head, and said helplessly, Okay. Miss Ellie, come in. I sleep on the sofa, you sleep on the bed. After all, Zhou Ran pushed Natasha away, turned and walked towards the sofa. Seeing this, Natasha hugged Zhou Ran's waist and said, Boss, don't, I'm afraid. Feel the warm rabbit coming from behind. Zhou Ran is a little numb. Astute, he really can't think of what the Black Widow is going to do. What the hell is this S.H.E.L.D planning? This Black Widow is so abnormal. She definitely has a problem. There is definitely something wrong with her pestering me so much. I don't believe that a severely trained female agent can't resist the temptation of money and the temptation of male, so there must be some secrets in my house. There must be some secrets she wants to investigate. There must be a secret that S.H.E.L.D wants to investigate. Is there any treasure hidden in my house? Or some super criminal in my neighborhood? She's here because I'm being targeted by super criminals. How distressing. I can't ask Black Widow directly. What exactly do you Black Widow Natasha want to do here? As soon as I say this, Nick Fury's black marinated egg will definitely be caught by me. After all, few people know about Black Widow. The Avengers Alliance has not yet been established, and everyone who has seen Black Widow should be dead. Damn it. So, now it's just a matter of counting, no solution anymore. Zhou Ran took a deep breath and said slowly, Miss Ellie, let's sleep together. However, don't cross the line in the middle. Once it crosses, what will happen? I can't guarantee it. Natasha nodded and said very cleverly, Boss, please rest assured, I will never cross that line. I am really scared. A minute later, big bed. Zhou Ran smelled the milk-like aroma from Natasha and closed his eyes nervously. Special. Black Widow, if you dare to come here, someone in my week must have rushed you. If I don't fight you for 3 days and 3 nights, I'm going to write the word Zhou upside down. Zhou Ran fell asleep in the tension and stimulation. Natasha lay quietly on the bed, waiting for Zhou Ran's breathing to become even, and then she also began to become even. After an hour of homogenization, she opened her eyes and pulled out a sharp dagger out of nowhere. She deserves to be a female agent of S.H.E.L.D. The kung fu of hiding weapons is truly amazing. The Black Widow held the dagger and restrained all her breath. There was no murderous intent, no sound at all. He gently pierced Zhou Ran's chest and stopped when the dagger hit the skin. Natasha withdrew the dagger, frowned, and looked a little serious. Damn it. He didn't even respond. Sleep dead. If this was the clown, he would surely wake up. A super criminal at the level of a clown will surely wake up. They are extremely sensitive to death. Even an assassination without murderous intent can all be detected. So isn't Jake Zhu the Joker? No. Be sure to trust the judge's judgment. His intuition has always been accurate. Never made a mistake. If the director hadn't had more than 90% speculation, he would never have agreed to such absurd promises today. Heavy rain next month in Queens, New York. That huge red lightning, if I read it correctly, it should be forged by a laser. Natasha's keen vision saw a figure in the air. It's the Cyclops from the X-Men. This is definitely the back end set by the director. Once Zhou Ran takes off his disguise and turns into a clown, the X-Men will catch him. I have to say that the director is really an old coin with no last resort. In the confused thinking, Natasha fell asleep. At 4 o'clock in the morning, Zhou Ran, who was sleeping sweetly, had a smile on the corner of his mouth, a huge smile, an extremely exaggerated smile, and an extremely crazy smile. Zhou Ran's soul. It's pitch black and dark here. Suddenly a crazy loud laugh sounded. Ha 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 ha, sorry, my throat is a little sore. I'm really sorry. I can't make everyone laugh. I'm really an unqualified clown. I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. I'd just do things. Gentlemen, the worst thing about being mentally ill is that everyone expects you to pretend you're not sick. I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. Put a smile on your face. Why so? A clown in a purple suit with chaotic paint on his face and a red nose emerges from the darkness. He showed an exaggerated smile, his eyes were scarlet, and he said nervously, Hey my dear friends, I really want to kill this woman. She's so annoying. Look, she's been here several times. She didn't find anything, and she had to stay on our bed. It's obviously a who is ridden by 10,000 people, but she pretends to be so pure. She looks like my wife, you know. She gave me a green hat, a very nice hat. Green is my favorite color, like these paints on my face, hee. In return for her thoughtful gift, I dressed up as a clown to make her laugh. You know, everyone who sees a circus clown will laugh because that was so funny. Ha 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 ha, but she didn't laugh. I was so sad. I slashed her face with a knife. She started laughing like I did. Why, so let me see where she's sleeping. Oh, it's little monkey. This slept in the place of our great little monkey. What should I do? The little monkey will be very angry when he wakes up. A doctor wearing a white coat and glasses smiled and said, Then Mr. Joker, let's eat her. How about this proposal? There was a census taker who wanted to test me, and I ate his liver with fava beans and delicious red wine. She looks delicious, like a sleeping lamb. A middle-aged man with a pale face and sickly pushed up his glasses, chuckled lightly, and said, You can only think about it here. That's why you can never get out. The clown shouted, Oh, one patient laughed at another patient. Oops, I forgot that I'm a patient too. Chapter 7 Little Monkeys. The clown just finished speaking. A dull and powerful voice suddenly sounded, Joker, you did too much last time. You have already brought the agents here. Don't go out this month. The clown grinned and said solemnly, Ha 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 no. It's a chaotic home court. It's also my home court. Is it a big deal to expose it? He, I don't care. The dull, powerful voice cursed angrily, Damn it. You're such a pervert. What a lunatic. Do you want to be Jake's ration? The clown rolled his eyes and laughed loudly. I am Jake. You are Jake too. Hugging with Jake is our final destination. With an angry growl, Then you can die now. You can now hug. Crack. The clown was directly pinched by a figure in a tight battle suit and a red cloak. The hand was working slowly like a pair of pliers, as if it was going to pinch the clown's neck directly. Ha ha ha, you obviously have the darkest heart, but pretend to be justice. What a hypocritical. Is this what death feels like? How wonderful. I'm going to hug my little Jake warmly. I'm going to kiss his cheek. He's my god. My light. He, it's a pity you can't kill me, ha ha ha. I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger. The clown blushed, let out intermittent laughter and sarcastic words. Hearing the words, the figure released his hand, smiled, looked at a few people, and said slowly, Joker, Dr. Zhou, we are not enemies. You must know that we are all handicapped, and we are all created by God, monstrous creatures. We all have serious illnesses. How miserable we are to be awake only at night. We must kill those few days alive as soon as possible. Otherwise, we will die sooner or later. After all, our existence is too dangerous for this society. Jake, he's going to kill us. There's no way. Who made us the most ill? The clown blinked and laughed wildly. Yo, do you want to go out in the daytime, even in the dark and terrifying? I think you can pretend. After all, you look decent. After all, you look like a who can disguise. Just need to cover up the darkness in your heart. Hearing the words, the figure frowned and asked gracefully, Mr. Joker, do you have any good ideas? The clown stretched out his hand and snapped his fingers, and a light suddenly came on, hitting a stone. Like a devout believer, with an excited look on his face, he walked to the stone step by step, knelt down and kissed. Laughing wildly, ha ha ha, look, this is how we can go out during the day. The figure in tight clothes frowned, thought for a moment, and asked curiously, what is this? Why is there a stone here? The Joker clapped his hands, laughed and introduced, oh damn, you blind rubbish. It's not a stone, it's a mess, a great mess, a miracle, a great miracle, it's a little monkey. There was a confused look in the eyes of the figure in tight clothes. Monkey? What is that? I have slaughtered countless planets, killed countless powerful men across the universe, and I have never seen any powerful monkeys. The clown smiled helplessly, said, Ahaha, this is a monkey that exists in mythology. It belongs to a conceptual creature. It is very great. Zhou must have heard of it. The middle-aged man named Zhou pushed his glasses, folded his hands, exuded an air of compassion, and said with scarlet eyes, it's a monkey. It's a heinous and cannibalistic demon. It's the one who shatters fate and dares to resist. The great sage. It is a Buddha who is expansive, compassionate, and meritorious. It is both right and wrong, and it can do whatever it wants. I think I can find the answer I'm looking for here. I found the meaning of my life and donated blood. Can I become a Buddha? Namo Amitabha. Hearing the words, the doctor opened his eyes wide and smiled strangely. It seems that he has found his own kind. I didn't expect that there are brothers who cannibalize like me. I often feel that I am a god. People are like lambs. It is me food. It really is. Such a great existence. Such a god can eat people. Oh, no, we are not eating people, but silent lambs, and there are not only lambs in this world, but mutant lambs and alien lambs. Wait a minute, is this brother pregnant? Can I eat him? I'm so hungry since the moment I was born. I haven't opened my mouth to eat. Listening to the doctor's words, the clown grinned, sighed, and said slowly, Man, you really don't want to go out. If you go out, it will cause an uproar. The figure in tight clothes walked slowly beside the stone, used supervision to look over, but saw nothing. He turned his head sideways, frowned at the clown, and asked angrily, Are you lying to me? The clown shook his head and said contemptuously, Do you, a shameful and hypocritical, also want to see that great existence? Only a sincere person can spy on that great existence. I am sincere chaos, and Zhou is sincere compassion. The doctor is a sincere gourmet, and when you dress up as a Superman, you will be good and evil. Good and evil. You can't admit your heart, so you can't see. Little monkey, jai. Hurry up and make your choice. Light or darkness, or come to my chaos. Hearing the words, the figure in tight clothes smiled and said, Of course I choose darkness. I am pure darkness, and this dress is just to better rule the earth. I came to rule the earth. But Joker, how on earth are you supposed to go out during the day? The Joker laughed frantically and said, Of course, Jake let him choose you, the Superman, to take over the body when he was most vulnerable, when he was most dangerous, and when he needed strength the most. Remember, you're Superman now. You have to know that before the monkey became a Buddha, What it likes most is fooling around. It's an active genie, and it'll help you. However, you have to be careful. Once you go to daylight, you must hide it. Though those few have been sleeping, they are really scary." After saying that, the clown reached out and gently pushed the tight-fitting figure, and the tight-fitting figure disappeared. He smiled, looked at the only two left beside him, and asked, "What do you two think? Get out? Or hug Jake like me, or choose darkness like that fake Superman, and kill Jake?" The doctor shook his head and said, "Clown, you know, I'm just a gourmet. After a full meal, it may disappear. My choice is meaningless." The middle-aged man wearing glasses smiled, put his hands together, and said, "I only protect Zhou Ran's compassionate heart and prevent him from falling into evil. It doesn't matter what the final outcome is." Namo Amitabha. The clown took out a bottle of red wine out of nowhere and said with a smile, "Dude, would you like to have a drink together?" Chapter 8. Ellie, I want to fire you. At noon the next day, Zhou Ran suddenly woke up from his sleep. He had a terrible nightmare. In the dream, he became the vice chairman of Stark Industries Group, and truly became an indispensable figure in Tony Stark's life. Naturally, it has become the key protection object of Iron Man. Zhou Ran began to enjoy life. One holiday, he and Tony went to a pool party. He got out of the pool and started swimming, only to be caught tightly by the tentacles, which grabbed his neck and made him unable to breathe. He felt a huge suffocation. He is going to die. Well, he woke up. When Zhou Ran woke up, he found himself tightly wrapped around his neck by two jade-white arms. Zhou Ran was stunned. When did I have a woman on my bed? After a while, he calmed down and woke up. Oh, special. This is not a woman. This is the female agent of S.H.E.L.D. This is Natasha the Black Widow. Zhou Ran stretched out his hand and pushed Black Widow, trying to break free from the female agent's arms. But how could the poor man break free from Natasha's arms? Natasha is a superhero who can beat 20 or 30 strong men by one person. This physical quality is far superior to him. He has no power over this woman. Natasha, who was sleeping, felt that something was about to break free from her arms, so she suddenly increased her strength and hugged tightly. Feel the powerful power of Black Widow. Zhou Ran took a deep breath, stretched out his free right hand and pinched Natasha's face fiercely. His actions were rude, and he didn't pity Zhang Ziyu at all. "No one can stop me from working for Stark Industries. No one can do it. Special. Damn Black Widow. It affects my sleep quality. Hateful." The 10-year attendance record was broken today. Look at the goddamn sun. This will be my first late arrival for someone of the week. Natasha groaned in pain, woke up, and opened her big watery eyes. What caught my eye was the profile of a man. Natasha was stunned for a moment. There is a triple connection of quality in the brain. Who I am? Where am I? Who is he? Yes, I remembered. I am Natasha Black Widow, a senior agent of S.H.E.L.D, and now I am Miss Ellie. Last night I pretended to be afraid and got on the bed of the mission target, which is my current boss's bed. This is to be able to probe his true identity. On the surface, he is a boy who is not fond of women, but behind his back is probably an S-level terrorist criminal, the clown. But after a preliminary test last night, it didn't look like a clown. Damn it! What should we do now? I actually took the initiative to embrace the mission goal. This does not meet the standards of a female agent at all. This is not in line with the behavior of female agents at all. How did my spirit relax to such a degree? He even considers it his home. This unscientific. Am I being secretly hypnotized by him? Is he really a clown? Zhou Ran frowned when he saw the Black Widow, who was clearly awake, but still hugged him tightly. No wonder I had a dream last night. Also had such a strange dream. In the dream, the tentacles tightened the neck. It turned out to be your hands, Natasha. Zhou Ran gritted his teeth and roared angrily, "Miss Ellie, can you let go of your hand? You are very strong, it hurts my neck. And you take a good look at the big sun outside. It is noon now, and I will be late for the first time in my life. I'm going to fire you. You haven't done your duty as an assistant at all. You don't even know the alarm clock to wake up." After Zhou Ran finished speaking, he felt very proud. I am really smart. Really smart. He was able to come up with a reason to get rid of Black Widow in an instant. Hearing the words, Natasha turned over and sat on Zhou Ran's body, slowly lowered her body, brought her face close to Zhou Ran's face, stared at him with a pair of eyes, licked her lips, and said with a smile, "Boss, I'll wake you up right now. I think you need a good morning kiss, Ellie. It will definitely make you very comfortable seeing this." Zhou Ran hurriedly stretched out his hands to cover his face to stop Black Widow's behavior, and hurriedly refused. "Miss Ellie, no need, really no need." Natasha pretended not to hear and smiled charmingly. "Don't resist, boss. Isn't Ellie beautiful? Don't you really like Ellie at all?" Zhou Ran was completely panicked. This female agent is really coming. What's wrong with her? Sudden fever. This is so scary. Damn, I don't want to be entangled by this woman. Zhou Ran took a deep breath, put down his hands, stared into Black Widow's eyes, and asked seriously, "How can I stop what you just did?" Natasha blinked and said with a weeping voice, "As long as boss doesn't fire Ellie. Ellie really needs this job. And boss, can you stop looking at Ellie like this? Your eyes are so fierce. Ellie is so scared." Zhou Ran stared at him and ordered indifferently, "Get off me quickly. I'm going to take a cold shower, and then go to the company. You also need to clean up." Natasha got up, dangled her two big white legs, stepped over Zhou Ran, blinked her eyes, and said with a smile, "Boss, are you really not thinking about it? Ellie can meet any of your requirements." Zhou Ran snorted coldly and walked towards the bathroom. Black Widow looked at Zhou Ran's back, her eyes slowly turned cold. Such behaviors against beauty can be roughly divided into two types. First, he can't resist beauty. Can't resist this temptation. Knowing that he could not resist beauty, he began to force himself to reject beauty. Force yourself to stay away from beauty. What a strong-willed man. Obviously the body is too honest, and he can suppress his own desires with willpower. This kind of person is the most terrifying. The second one has been hurt by a woman, abandoned and given a green hat. But come to think of it, this is impossible. According to the information, he has never had any emotional experience. Not even online dating. Friends of the opposite have only one palsy who has an intersection at work. So, is he the Joker? Even if he is not a clown, he must have secrets that he cannot tell. Only people who have secrets will resist others from joining their lives. He was afraid of the secret being discovered. In just a few minutes, Natasha thought of a lot of things. Although she couldn't confirm that Zhou Ran was the clown, she was sure that this man definitely had a secret. And what absolutely happened last night. Because it's impossible for her to sleep so soundly as an agent. Sleep so relaxing. Sleep so sweetly. This is really unscientific. Agents need to stay awake at all times. Natasha, her Black Widow, has never slept like this since she came out of the Red House. She is an agent who kills without blinking an eye, and her spirit is sharp, and she will never sleep so sweetly in an unfamiliar place. Does he have the ability to let people put their guard down? If there is, then even if he is not a clown, it is worth watching carefully for a month. Chapter 9, I Really Can -039 Train Agents. Stark Industries Building. The tallest building in New York at 1,138 feet. This is a New York City landmark. This is where countless New Yorkers flock to work. Super high salary, super benefits. There is also a humane care system. All kinds of coffee snacks are provided for free, and even if you suddenly want a pizza at work, the company will prepare it for you in half an hour. The only criticism is that it is really tired here. Too tired. Although tired, but you can really see the green Franklin. Overtime pay is in cash. You work a few hours overtime and you get a few hours of cash. According to the company's predecessors, There is a huge vault on the third basement floor of S.H.E.L.D Industrial Building, where there are tens of billions of cash. This is the proposal of Jake Xu, a new director of the company, 5 years ago, to let employees see the strength of our S.H.E.L.D Industries group. Let them really feel the strength of S.H.E.L.D Industries. It is said that the current director of Jake Xu is preparing a proposal for a dream realization plan. S.H.E.L.D Corporation will help you realize your dream, according to the degree of dream and personal ability, to formulate a contract for how many years of selfless service for S.H.E.L.D Industries Group. Currently, 3 cleaners have volunteered to join the program. Their dream is to buy a house and a car with all of their money and sleep with a Hollywood actress for the night, at the cost of cleaning the S.H.E.L.D Industrial Building. 120 years of hygiene. The 3 cleaners readily agreed. One of the cleaners, Smith, replied, "Hi, being a black man, I can have a car of my own, a house of my own, and sleep with a Hollywood star for a night, so my seeds I really can't even think about it. And when I have a house and a car, I will have at least 2 wives, black girls in the slums. I, Smith, choose whatever you want. I really thank S.H.E.L.D Industries for changing my destiny. They are the most conscientious group in the United States. What they do is the American dream. I will definitely clean up well. I will definitely finish it in this 120 years. If I can't achieve it, I will let my son and my grandson inherit it. My Smith family will remove dust and dirt for S.H.E.L.D Industries for generations to make this place brighten. S.H.E.L.D Industrial Building. You may not know Chairman Tony's uncle Obadiah, but you must know Chairman Tony's good brother, right-hand man Jake Xu. Because of his arrival, the atmosphere here has changed. Hard work for everyone except Chairman Tony Stark. Even the chairman's uncle, the second shareholder of the group, Mr. Obadiah, was forced to work 6 hours a day. So, imagine how many volumes there are. But today is an incredibly dreamy day for S.H.E.L.D Industries. The devil Jake didn't come. The faces of all the employees showed incredible and extremely shocked expressions. The chairman's driver and bodyguard, Big Mouth Happy, received inside information. Jake led a very sexy woman home at the pool last night. This news immediately made the entire S.H.E.L.D Industries group lively. Can you finally fish? Thanks to that lady. She is a god, an angel, and she has conquered the devil Jake. Hopefully she's a strong fighter that keeps Jake from getting up every morning so we can have a comfortable, stress-free morning. One of the company's bald programmers said as he typed code. Tears were rolling in his eyes. His name was Neil. He was only 23 years old, and he lost his beautiful blonde hair. But Zhou Ran, who is self-disciplined, will never let himself be too late. At 12 noon, he led the Black Widow Natasha to the S.H.E.L.D Industrial Building. From home to work, he ran through 9 red lights all the way, and it only took him half an hour. Normally, it should take 1 hour and 8 minutes to abide by the law. This is the first time Zhou Ran has run through so many red lights, and the first time he has exercised the privileges of a New York City councilor. Seeing his license plate along the way, not a single traffic policeman came. Even a middle-aged white policeman with a beer belly actually took the initiative to drive a police car to the front to clear the way for him as a congressman. This made Zhou Ran feel the importance of the status of a member for the first time. Every time he went to listen to the meeting held by the mayor, he was extremely annoyed, which made him delay work. Now that he has truly realized the benefits of Mr. Senator, should I make some good suggestions? While thinking about it, Zhou Ran looked at the work of the employees with a stern face. With the sound of Zhou Ran's footsteps, the employees of S.H.E.L.D Industrial Building all looked dignified and very careful. Although they looked serious and careful on the surface, most of them couldn't help but use the corner of their eyes to look at the woman behind Director Jake. Whether it is a man or a woman, they are very curious about what kind of woman is that. What kind of woman can win this cold-faced and ruthless director? What kind of woman can win this unique broiler in the United States? What kind of woman got $100 million last night? When they saw it, the employees couldn't help but sigh and praise it. Sure enough, Only a woman with a devil figure can conquer the devil. This woman is so delicious, pure and sexy, with a pair of clear and bright eyes, which is breathtaking. There was an indescribable aura about him. Looking at the early 20s, there is a sense of beauty that has been precipitated by the years. This is really a charming woman. She is more beautiful than Hollywood superstars. Worth $1 billion. The Black Widow Natasha is also secretly observing the attitude of the employees in the company towards Zhou Ran. She is a person who pays attention to details. Looking at her, she could not help frowning. It's a strange attitude. A fusion of two attitudes. Fear and worship. This is really interesting. A smile suddenly appeared on the corner of Black Widow's mouth, like a seductive rose. Fear and worship. Isn't this the first lesson of the Red House? Isn't this how agents are trained? Even if he is not a clown, he is definitely not an ordinary person. How can ordinary people master the method of training agents? These sick employees all have the potential to be secret agents. There is absolutely something wrong with this man. Zhou Ran would never have imagined that he would have been labeled such a label by Black Widow. He is simply improving the work ability and work efficiency of the company's employees. He is just mobilizing the positive emotions of the company's employees, so that everyone has the spirit of selfless service to Stark Industries. Chapter 10: The Black Widow. His ideas are so high. Zhou Ran, like Wang, who inspected the territory, carefully observed the work of the employees, and he was generally satisfied. Although everyone is not 100% mentally invested, they do not treat wages with a happy, sunny, and loving attitude. However, the completion of the work and the results of the work are still very satisfactory, definitely ahead of Osborne Industries and Hammer Industries by more than 10 streets. Well, steady. This time the Stark Industries group layoffs, my Jake Zhu will definitely not be on the list. Zhou Ran led the Black Widow to his office. He sat on the boss chair, picked up the office documents on the table and looked at it seriously. The company's performance this month is still good, but in terms of main revenue, more than 60% of the orders come from the military, fighter jets, missiles, tanks. It's an order for arms. This is not a good thing. Stark Industries, every time a missile is built, a country in the world is going to be bombed. I climbed up to the position of director step by step, not only to make Tony Stark agree with me, and to protect me after becoming Iron Man. Also change this issue of arms. In the 10 years of Stark Industries Group, Zhou Ran is slowly changing, affecting the income composition of Stark Industries Group. 10 years ago, 89% of Stark Industries' revenue was in the arms business. 10 years later, 62% of Stark Industries' revenue is in the arms business. 10 years down the line by 27 points. This is an incredible thing. Zhou Ran told Tony Stark many times that the future development of Stark Industries Group will not require more nuclear bombs and missiles, but more convenient technology that can really help the people of the United States develop. If a company wants to stand still, it must learn to transform. Arms dealers will always be arms dealers, bloody capitalists who harvest life. Men must open up the pattern. Zhou Ran has successfully opened up Tony Stark's pattern, and Stark Industries Group is also developing in the direction he expects. In the past 10 years, Zhou Ran led Stark Industries to invade the real estate industry, the pharmaceutical industry, the express delivery industry, the taxi industry, the education industry, the aerospace industry, and the energy industry. Invaded the high-tech industry. The future journey must be the stars and the sea. Why let the purple potato essence come in and invade the earth? Instead of taking the initiative to fight purple sweet potato essence. This is the desire hidden in Zhou Ran's heart. He wants to change the direction of this universe. All superpowers should not fight together because of some trivial matters, nor should they attack each other because they belong to various forces. As good as the current snake shield, you have me, I have you. All superpowers unite and invade aliens. That is a beautiful thing. But human hearts are complicated, and people are not easy to manage. Zhou Ran had many ideas in his mind. For example, in a biochemical company acquired by Stark Industries Group, there was a professor named Pickerham. This is Ant-Man. If the PIM particle is made into a weapon, wouldn't it become a light that gets bigger and smaller? When the aliens arrive, they swipe lightly at those huge alien warships and they will become toys for children to play with. But such a weapon falls into the hands of human beings and is taken by those with bad minds. This is definitely a terrifying disaster. Zhou Ran understood why Tony created Ultron because the human mind is complex and far less simple than artificial intelligence. But Ultron has his own consciousness. Artificial intelligence nearly wiped out humanity. So what a congressman said seems to make sense. Develop a potion that turns superhumans into ordinary people. Or develop a potion that turns ordinary people into superpowers. Either evolve together or degenerate together. It's really complicated. In fact, according to the settings in One Punch Man, it's not impossible to get a hero association, grade it according to the level, and get a jurisdiction management. What, isn't this the Mutant Registration Act? Isn't this the Superhero Registration Act? No wonder I was able to get along with Tony and get along so well. We both thought the same thing. To transfer superheroes from the ground to the ground, there is no need to cover their faces as vigilantes, show their faces openly, defend justice, and guard the light. But how to keep the family and friends of superheroes safe? This is also a serious problem. Would you like to be a native of the country? Make an idol group. Damn, why am I thinking so much? Boss, you've been frowning since just now. I don't know what's bothering you. Ellie is happy to share your worries for you. Black Widow Natasha's gentle voice entered Zhou Ran's ears. Zhou Ran was silent for a while, and then said slowly, I'm thinking about the future. You know I'm a member of the New York City government. I heard a piece of news recently. Forget it, Miss Ellie, you don't necessarily know. Natasha frowned and asked with a smile, Excuse me, boss, what's the news? Can you tell me? Zhou Ran sighed and said slowly, That's about mutants. It's a bill. The Mutant Registration Act. The bill requires mutants to register their identities and disclose their abilities. This is likely to cause an uproar. Confusion. I think this bill was introduced a bit early, however. It should not be implemented so soon according to the efficiency of Congress. It will take 3 to 5 years' time. Hearing this, Natasha smiled and said, I don't think these things will have any effect on the boss. After all, with your identity and the strength of Stark Industries, the chaos will not cause the boss to you body. But Ellie is a little curious. What does boss think of mutants? Zhou Ran pointed to the coffee on the table, smiled, and said slowly, Mutants are like coffee, their fate is bitter and the fate of ordinary people is sugar. If we can join it, mutants will not be. It will be painful, but there's no way life is fair. Mutants are born with incredible abilities, and the injustice and misfortune they encounter is the price of this ability in a place full of monkeys. There are such a group of people. This is an alien, and it is acceptable to treat an alien. Some monkeys think that aliens are gods. And some monkeys think that aliens are devils. That aliens it's the devil. It's like those witches burned in the Middle Ages, but these are trivial things for me. The damage the mutants have caused to this world is far less than the half-yearly production of arms from Stark Industries at present. For human beings, the weapons made by human beings are the most terrifying demons. I am thinking about how to reduce the proportion of arms revenue from 62% to less than 50%. Listening to Zhou Ran's words, Black Widow couldn't help but be startled for a while. Has this man's thoughts reached such a height? Chapter 11. Damn, he can #039T really be a clown. Black Widow Natasha was instantly shocked by the thought of this man in front of her. There is absolutely no way this man is a clown. The Joker is an S-class super criminal. Evil and chaotic, crazy and aggressive personality, likes to laugh, has high IQ, unknown superpower, strong self-healing ability, not afraid of pain, good at all weapons, plays with the enemy psychology, has created many inhumane massacres, kills without targets, extremely dangerous. The man in front of him silently dedicated his youth to protect peace. He is slowly changing and affecting Stark Industries. In 10 years, he reduced Stark Industries' arms production from 89% to 62%. That's the equivalent of 1,000 fewer Jarek missiles being produced a year. A Jarek missile can easily blow up a small mountain. Black Widow took a deep breath, stared at the man in front of her, and said slowly, "Boss, people in the future will remember you, and what you did is worth being remembered by history." Zhou Ran gave a wry smile, shook his head, and laughed at himself. "Miss Ellie, you have worked as a secretary in both Osborne Industries and Hammer Industries. You should have seen their financial statements. In their income composition, the proportion of arms is rapidly increasing. This represents the arms order that Stark Industries has abandoned and transferred to them. So, I haven't changed the world much. The only thing that has changed is probably less production of Jarek missiles. After all, this is Tony's proud work, and Osborne Industries and Hammer Industries have not been able to study it for the time being." Black Widow nodded and smiled. "Boss, I always believe that most people like peace. Everything evolves little by little. One day humans will not need weapons." After listening to the words of Natasha, the Black Widow, Zhou Ran also nodded. Then he picked up a document on the table, signed his name, reached out and knocked on the table, and said solemnly, "AI Lai, it's time to work. Take this document to the president's office and give it to Chairman Tony, and if Chairman Tony isn't there, you give it to Miss Potts, and when Miss Potts isn't, you put it in the red basket on the table." Black Widow took the document and said with a smile, "Yes, my boss." Then the Black Widow Natasha ushered in an extremely boring and busy working life. "AI Lai, go to the Logistics Management Department and ask how is the preparation of this month's employee surprise gift package." As ordered. "AI Lai, call the 5 ministers of the Finance Department, Project Engineering Department, Audit Department, Investment Development Department, and Production R/U0026D Department. I want a meeting." As ordered. "How did your Investment and Development Department do it? Didn't I say don't invest in weapons and focus on environmental protection and energy? And chips and computers? It's Director Obadiah stupid. Really stupid. What does he think? Don't you understand the future development direction? Only a warmonger. The Earth is so big, where can there be so many wars? Stop this quickly. How do you invest in development? Minister, do you know what development is? He is stupid. Are you stupid too? But he is the second shareholder of the group. Remember that there is only one master in this group, Tony Stark. All my ideas were approved by him in advance. Next time, you will get out." "Okay, I see. I must focus more on sustainable development rather than temporary profiteering. Minister of Finance, I want to know why the numbers here are wrong. Why is there tax evasion? Who took this money? You don't know that in the United States, does the FBI have no tax department? Who gave you the guts? I need a reasonable explanation. Director Jake, I didn't take this tax, it was taken by Director Maria. I think you should know what to do. Yes, I'll go to the tax office to report Director Maria for abusing the company's authority and threatening employees. You know, I've always valued your abilities, so I hope you can wipe your ass. After all, you came out of NYU. Do not worry. Minister of Audit, you have disappointed me this time. Is that how you calculate your company's expenses? Don't you know that smartphones are now the core of Stark Industries? How dare you reduce the budget for smartphone projects? You are fired. Director Jake, it's been half a year since your smartphone project has come to fruition. I have the right to reduce the budget for your project, and I don't think we need a smartphone. Shifting the functionality of a computer to a phone is too much, it's not realistic. You meet today. I've never seen a visionary head of the audit department like you. You really made me feel stupid. A new understanding. Humph. I've wanted to leave here for a long time. You are only an Asian, a yellow-skinned monkey. How dare you be so arrogant? After listening to Zhou Ran, he was silent for 3 seconds, stood up, raised the chair he was sitting on, and smashed it down against the head of the audit department. The scalp that the minister smashed bleeds, and the bridge of the nose was broken. Zhou Ran walked slowly to the head of the auditor and stomped his shoes on the head of the auditor's face. Then kicked the auditor in the mouth. Ah! 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 The room remembered the miserable scream of the minister. Zhou Ran's eyes were fierce, and he said indifferently, "Miss Ellie, call Mr. Happy, the Minister of Security, and ask him to throw this minister out. Also call Matt Murdock, the best lawyer in the United States. I'm going to sue the minister for racial discrimination, which has seriously hurt my spirit, and my spirit has a problem. Call Dr. Cornell at Cornell Presbyterian and say I need a mental illness certificate. Let's break up today." Except for the fallen minister of the audit department, the remaining 4 ministers of the finance department, project engineering department, investment development department, and production R/U0026D department quickly escaped. Black Widow was also taken aback by Zhou Ran's vicious and tyrannical aura, and hurriedly called. 3 minutes later, the fat Happy dragged the fallen minister out with a cold face. Black Widow frowned as she watched the scene in front of her. The face he had just now was completely different from before. So tyrannical. And the action is done in one go. Very consistent and perfect. Especially the fierce eyes just now, really like a lunatic. Damn it. He can't really be a clown, can he? Chapter 12 Duplicitous Tony Stark. Zhou Ran sighed deeply, smiled at Black Widow, and said, "Sorry, I just lost my temper. Didn't I scare Miss Ellie?" Hearing the words, Black Widow reached out her hand and gestured casually, blinked her eyes, and said with a smile, "Boss just wasn't scary at all. He was really manly. Very safe. Excuse me, have you practiced, boss? The movements just now seem to be very consistent. Could this be the legendary Chinese Kung Fu?" Hearing Black Widow say this, Zhou Ran couldn't help but laugh. He really couldn't help it. "Miss Ellie, if someone from Zhou did not know your true identity, I would still believe your nonsense. But your real identity is Natasha, the Black Widow, a senior agent of S.H.E.L.D. You Natasha can beat 20 or 30 strong men alone. Now I'm here to say I'm good at it. Isn't this a joke? However, mine is Chinese Kung Fu. After all, I have been practicing Jeet Kune Do for 10 years since I knew this was the Marvel world. However, my little tricks are still incomparable to you, an old goblin who is already 40 or 50 years old." Zhou Ran coughed lightly, squatted his legs slightly, flung his sleeves, stretched out his 2 hands, one after the other, gestured a fistfight, and said with a smile, "It's Wing Chun, Zhou Ran." When Black Widow heard this, her eyes were full of little stars, and she said coquettishly, "Wow, where did you practice, boss?" "Ellie, I'm curious. Can you tell others?" "I beg, boss." Of course she was pretending. According to the information, Zhou Ran had never been to any martial arts gym. So she was curious, where did she learn this kung fu? Zhou Ran smiled and said, "The martial arts gym is located at 17 Black Street, Queens. If you are interested, I can show you." Hearing this, Black Widow could not help frowning. 17 Black Street, Queens. Is there a bakery there? There is clearly a long-established bakery that has been open for more than 60 years. She even went there to buy bread last month. And the owner of that bakery is a pure French. Monopoly baguettes. That French boss is a fat man weighing more than 300 pounds. How can it be possible? How can it be possible to learn Chinese Kung Fu? Black Widow Natasha suppressed the doubts in her heart, showed a very sweet smile, and slowly said, "Can boss take me to see it?" Zhou Ran nodded and smiled, "Of course. If you are interested, I can take you there today." Although he was reluctant, there was nothing he could do. This Black Widow Natasha seems to be inseparable from him because of him. Even if he doesn't agree, the Black Widow will try her best to force him to agree. Boom, boom, boom. There was a knock on the door. Tony Stark walked in from the door gracefully, grinned, and said, "Hi, Jake. This is really my fault. I never expected such a thing to happen in the company. That damn the head of the audit department. I have asked the company's legal department to sue him. I never imagined that such a person would exist in the Stark Industrial Building. Not only is it stupid and visionary, but it's also inferior. Zhou Ran sighed and asked, "Who is he?" "It can't be your Uncle Obadiah, right?" Tony Stark smiled awkwardly, scratched his head, and said very embarrassedly, "Cough, he is the one left by my father, equivalent to the big housekeeper." Well, according to Dongfeng's words, he is the minister and assistant minister. Minister. Zhou Ran heard the words and was silent for 10 seconds. He scolded, "This damn old bastard. Why didn't he guard Obadiah? Instead, he kept staring at me. Why did your father leave you such a person? He is really an idiot. He is so stupid." Tony Stark smiled bitterly and said, "Because he is loyal enough. In his eyes, you, who is not the Stark family, won the company's shares and became a director. He can't accept this. In his eyes, you are more extreme than my Uncle Obadiah. After all, you don't have Stark's blood on you but Jake. I really don't understand why you don't like my Uncle Obadiah, even though he's really old and confused, and he hasn't turned his head around yet, and can't understand what you're talking about. But he really does work for the company, and everything is for a better tomorrow for Stark Industries. I hope you can treat this old man a little better. After all, he is my uncle and part of the Stark group." Hearing Tony Stark's incomparably affectionate words, Zhou Ran sighed and said something incomparable. "Okay, Tony, I will listen to you. I'm not targeting your uncle, but if a company wants to develop well, there are always some old guys who need to be eliminated. If I were your Uncle Obadiah, I would have stopped staying in the company a long time ago. Every day I just lie at home, and the green Franklin grows endlessly. How comfortable it is." After listening to Tony Stark, he laughed and said proudly, "Maybe this is the stubbornness in the Stark family, the paranoia flowing in the blood. Every Stark family will be a genius. Is it a genius? It is impossible to accept other people's opinions except for me. Tony, of course." Zhou Ran nodded and said, "Indeed. I always think that the Stark family are geniuses, and you, Tony, is a genius among geniuses. But I don't agree with you saying that you can accept other people's opinions. After all, I advise you not to be merciful outside, and hurry up and marry S.H.E.L.L and have children." "You've never heard of it." Tony Stark touched his nose, sneered, and said without admitting, "Palsy. I won't like her. My Tony Stark will never like Palsy." "Absolutely not." Zhou Ran coughed lightly and said with a smile that, "Mr. Tony, Pepper is right behind you." Palsy slammed the door with a cold face and turned to leave. Tony stretched out his finger to Zhou Ran, and a mouth shape came. "You kidding me? Quickly turn around and chase after it." Zhou Ran watched this scene with a smile on the corner of his mouth. "Oh, I can't help myself. This is a man. This is Tony, but Tony, you got one thing wrong. Your Uncle Obadiah is really bad. He hates your eldest nephew so much. He should be planning how to kidnap you now. Should he be plotting how to kill you now? But this time I really can't stop it. After all, this is the birth of Iron Man. It is also the beginning of a new world. However, it is still necessary to reduce the number of Jarek missiles in this military order as much as possible." Chapter 13, Sedative Paxilidine. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Zhou Ran finally stopped his work. He rubbed his temples fiercely. Recently, I don't know why he always feels mentally exhausted, sore, and in a very bad state. I feel like my body is being hollowed out. Very unmotivated. I really want to just lie down and sleep with him for 3 days and 3 nights. But as a director of Stark Industries, he must not be idle. At least until Tony becomes Iron Man, he must not be idle. 99 steps have been taken, and only this last step is left, so you must persevere. Wait for Obadiah to go to heaven, wait for Tony Stark, the lucky son of Marvel, to become Iron Man, and wait for Stark Industries to completely abandon the military industry. On that day, Zhou Ran would definitely ask him to take half a year's leave. take a good rest and go for a walk. Zhou Ran sighed lightly and said, Miss Ellie, call Professor Ace, the chief engineer of the smartphone project team. I have something to ask him. Hearing the words, Black Widow's head suddenly became big, and she glanced at Zhou Ran sadly. It's not Mr. Jake, don't you have any pity on Xiangxiu? It's already 10 o'clock, and it's the beginning of the nightlife in New York. I wonder when I, the dignified senior agent of the Black Widow S.H.E.L.D, ever suffered this kind of grievance that I have worked overtime for 5 hours. I think when I was at Hammer Industries and Osborne Industries, I got off work at 5 o'clock. Black Widow Natasha sighed helplessly and called Professor Ace, the chief engineer of the smartphone project team. 3 seconds later, Professor Ace's old voice came. Hey, who is it? It's me, Jake. Professor Ace, how is the development of the Eden system? Boss, the development of this Eden system is almost complete, but the artificial intelligence Mr. Adam and MS. Eve you mentioned are still a bit difficult. After all, boss, as you know, they are essentially just a string of codes and have no human feelings. It's hard to be vivid. Hi, Professor Ace, I think this is achievable. I believe in your ability. After all, you are the ace professor in the Department of Computer Science at MIT. And you misunderstood what I meant. I didn't mean to give them the ability of human beings to think, but to make them speak like human beings. After all, artificial intelligence is born to serve human beings, so it is not a wise thing for them to have the ability to think. After all, in the Bible, Adam and Eve ate God's apple to open with wisdom. We must take precautions. Oh, boss, if that's the case, then it's not difficult. I can do a systematic voice synthesis for Mr. Adam and MS. Eve, it's just 3 or 4 days of code work. By the way, Professor Ace, remember to invite a few more powerful Seiyu. You know, whether it is a man or a woman, it is inevitable to feel a little lonely when you are alone. At this time, Mr. Adam and MS. Eve can solve some physiological problems for them. And psychological problems. By the way, remember to enter more interactive programs and design a good avatar to meet the aesthetics of more than 90% of men and women. We can develop the method of favorability and intimacy to unlock Adam the tone and attitude of Mr. and MS. Eve. Oh, my God. Boss, your idea is really great, such Mr. Adam and MS. Eve will definitely be loved by people. I'm lit. I feel like I can add a week of sleepless nights. Then, what a great idea. Full of surprise and anticipation. By the way, Professor Ace, not only that, you can also do clothing shopping, buy some clothes for your Mr. Adam and MS. Eve they like. That should be nothing more than a simple coding for you, but it is a great progress for the society. Boss, you really are the smartest person I've ever met. Oh, I'm so in love with you. By the way, Professor Ace, we can also cultivate more artificial intelligence. Sooner or later, everyone will get tired of being a simple Mr. Adam and MS. Eve. By the way, don't make too many function selections for the prototype. After all, we have already thought this way. Enough to eat up this market. System locks are required for every mobile phone. Once updated 3 or 5 times, it will freeze. Be sure to let them change smartphones frequently. After all, Professor Ace is very discerning and chooses instead of opening a huge mouth and asking for a large sum of US dollars. I don't think I need to say too much about such a visionary. Boss, I understand. The Green Franklin doesn't want to make it all at once. I still understand it after making it once and making it countless times. Does Professor Ace have any more powerful apprentices or friends at MIT? Smartphones are just the first step. We have to develop various interesting software to make this cake bigger and bigger. Okay, boss, I'm going to contact my friends now. Don't tell them too much. Make sure they sign a contract. You must know that there are not so many good people in the world. There is only one honest Jake. After all, Zhou Ran hung up the phone, his face turned pale, and he tapped his head twice with his hands. Damn, I don't know why my head suddenly hurts. It has been a long time since he was in such pain. The last time he was in such pain was when he first joined Stark Industries. Those 3 times were so painful that his whole body was in excruciating pain. It was as if a huge watermelon had been stuffed into his head, and it was going to burst open. He hurried to Cornell Presbyterian Hospital, and it was at that time that he met Dr. Cornell. He was so afraid of having a brain tumor or something, it was so sad. The test results were normal, and Dr. Cornell gave the result of his mental stress, let him relax. Just like the answer given by Dr. Cornell yesterday morning. Damn it. It really hurts. Zhou Ran's face was pale, and he stretched out his hand and pointed at his arms tremblingly, and stammered to the Black Widow, "Miss Ellie, get me some medicine." Seeing Zhou Ran like this, Black Widow Natasha quickly took out 2 bottles of medicine, Paxilidine and morphine from Zhou Ran's arms. She quickly took out 2 pills and fed them to Zhou Ran. But Natasha was thinking while feeding the medicine. Of these 2 drugs, Paxilidine is a sedative drug that mainly relieves mental stress. Morphine is a pain-relieving drug and is addictive. It is generally only taken after a very serious injury. Only agents and soldiers often take this drug to relieve their own stress and reduce physical pain. Therefore, he often prepares these 2 kinds of medicines. He must have some problems, must have some secrets. Things are getting more and more interesting. Black Widow is getting more and more curious. Chapter 14 Relic. Form does not differ from emptiness, and emptiness does not differ from form. 5 minutes later, Zhou Ran let out a long sigh. His face was still pale. He showed a gentle smile to the Black Widow, and slowly said, "Thank you, Miss Ellie. If it weren't for you, I should have been in pain just now." Fainted. Black Widow Natasha smiled and said, "Boss, I'm your personal assistant. These are all my jobs, but boss should go to the hospital for a good checkup. You looked like a poor kitten just now. You must pay attention to your body, don't be so tired." Zhou Ran heard the words, smiled bitterly, and said, "I also want to go to the hospital to have a good check, but you know that Cornell Elder Hospital is already the best hospital in New York, and Dr. Cornell is also one of the top doctors in the United States, but he's saying the same thing every time. Jake, you need to rest well. You must be working too seriously and putting too much pressure on yourself. Young people should learn to enjoy life and relax. You are serious like an old man in his 50s or 60s. Hearing the words, Black Widow blinked her eyes with a curious expression and asked tentatively, "Oh, what pressure do you have, boss? Can you tell me?" Zhou Ran coughed lightly, hurriedly lied, and said, "A qualified migrant worker must learn to think about his boss. You know that Tony Stark is a genius, and a genius should not be disturbed by the tedious work at work. And I'm not a genius. I choose to help Tony with these tedious routines. In this way, he can create with peace of mind, knowing that technology is the primary productive force, and a good invention can change the whole world." After Zhou Ran answered, he couldn't help giving himself a thumbs up in his heart. Someone from Zhou is smart. My brain is spinning so fast. In just an instant, the pot was thrown on Tony's body. Listening to the extremely serious answer, Black Widow frowned, feeling that he was telling a lie, but through the analysis of the micro-expressions on his face, he was still telling the truth. Zhou Ran looked at the watch on his wrist. It was 10:20. He made a joke and said, "It's time to get off work. Let's go. Miss Ellie, I hope it won't rain tonight, so we can be separated. Stay here and sleep with you. I'm really tired. You look like an octopus." Black Widow heard the words, a smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, and she was extremely happy. "Mr. Jake, I don't think you would have imagined that it will rain all the time in Queens in the future. It's going to rain for a month. I will definitely find your secret." The entrance of the Stark Industrial Building. Happy, the Minister of Security greeted Zhou Ran with a smile, showing an expression that any man can understand, and said slyly, "Jake, please remember not to take safety measures. The seeds of your age are the most energetic." "I would love to see what little Jake looks like. Haha, he must be a handsome little guy." Zhou Ran rolled his eyes, raised his middle finger, and scolded with a smile. Happy laughed and said, "Okay. Okay. Very good." Zhou Ran sighed helplessly. This Happy is really a living treasure. No wonder Tony Stark keeps reusing him. Such a happy fat, very attractive. Zhou Ran led the Black Widow Natasha into his Rolls-Royce. He stepped on the accelerator and asked, "Miss Ellie, what would you like to eat?" Natasha smiled and said, "Boss, you can eat anything, just find a shop on Black Street, it's close to home. You can take a good rest after eating." Zhou Ran nodded and said, "That's right. By the way, there is a great Chinese restaurant next to the martial arts hall that taught me martial arts. It's a Sichuan restaurant. It's very authentic. Can you eat spicy food?" "Sichuan cuisine. Very spicy." Natasha nodded, jokingly said, "I can eat spicy food very well. Boss should know by looking at my sexy body. I am actually a hot girl." Although she was joking on the surface, she had already set off a storm in her heart. What? 17 Black Street in Queens is obviously a French bakery. And the bakery on the 16th to the left is a jewelry store. The 18th on the right is an ice cream shop. Where can I find a Sichuan restaurant? Passing by last month, when I was shopping for bread, I also bought an ice cream. After eating the bread and ice cream, I also visited the jewelry store. Beautiful women always like shiny things like jewelry, so I am very impressed there. That jewelry store has a necklace that I absolutely love. So, what exactly is this situation? The memory of a senior S.H.E.L.D. agent can never be wrong. While driving, Zhou Ran swept the Black Widow's figure out of the corner of his eyes, swallowed, nodded, and praised, "Miss Ellie's figure is really hot." Hearing this, Natasha stretched her waist and showed off her figure. She gave Zhou Ran a wink in a very charming way, smiled sweetly, and said, "Oh, boss, but are you interested in Ellie?" "Ellie? I'm really happy." Zhou Ran shook his head, stopped talking, stepped on the accelerator, and drove towards the Sichuan restaurant he mentioned. "Be sure to maintain your concentration and not be tempted by this demon girl. Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. When he practices deep prajnaparamita, he sees that the 5 aggregates are empty, and he overcomes all suffering. Sariputra. Form is not different from emptiness, and emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness, and emptiness is form. The same is true for feeling, thinking, action, and consciousness. Sariputra. It is the emptiness of all dharmas, neither arising nor dying, neither dirty nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. Namo Amitabha. This section of the Heart Sutra suddenly sounded in Zhou Ran's mind for some reason, and the whole person only felt that his mind was clear, and it cooled down in an instant. When he turned his head to look at the Black Widow again, he suddenly felt that this woman seemed to be just like that, not as good-looking as before. There was a feeling of enlightenment, a pink skull. At this moment, in his eyes, Black Widow seems to be a bone, no longer the stunning human beauty with a full charm value. In a dark space, a middle-aged man wearing glasses is sitting cross-legged at the moment, crossed the beads in his hands, closed his eyes. His expression is compassionate and dignified, holy and pious, silently reciting the scriptures, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. When practicing deep prajnaparamita, seeing that the 5 aggregates are empty and all sufferings are overcome. Sariputra. Form is not different from emptiness. Emptiness is not different from form. Form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. It is the dharma of all emptiness, neither arising nor dying, neither impure nor pure, neither increasing nor decreasing. Namo Amitabha. He opened his eyes suddenly. It was a pair of scarlet, devil-like eyes. Half of his eyes were mercy, half is killing. He smiled, and a face was instantly divided into 2 halves, half of which was Buddha, half the devil. In front of him was a pitch-black stone that was shining brightly. It seems to be breathing. Behind him, Two lunatics were drinking red wine while discussing the issues of humanity and divinity. This is Zhou Ran's Sea of Consciousness. It's his spiritual space. Thank you, reader. I just received a monthly pass. I am very happy. This should be the first monthly pass in my life. Xiaoxi decided to add one more update, so I will code the word wait for me, without Calvin. See you in a little over an hour. Chapter 15. Squeak. The Rolls-Royce tires made a very sexy rubbing sound against the ground. Zhou Ran slammed the steering wheel in his hand, and with a handsome drift, he parked the car firmly in the parking space in front of No. 18 Black Street. He stopped the car and turned off the engine, pulled out the key, smiled at Natasha, and explained, "Miss Ellie, here we are. This is the Sichuan restaurant." His Sichuan cuisine is very authentic. Although the owner is Asian like me, but it has always insisted on cooking with Chinese methods and has not modified it for the tastes of foreigners. So you should be choking on it. But it's definitely addicting. It's a fiery flavor that bursts out of your mouth, burns your entire stomach, and then pops up on your forehead. Layers of sweat. The whole person will be greatly satisfied from the inside out. Complementing the charm of a wave of Sichuan cuisine, Zhou Ran got out of the car. The Black Widow Natasha also got out of the car. Under the orange street lights, in the silent night, Natasha's eyes were full of shock. This is actually a Sichuan restaurant. At this moment, the senior agent of S.H.E.L.D, the Black Widow who can complete various tasks, couldn't help but trembling from the inside out. She had a feeling of hair bursting and creepy feeling all over her body. She cast her eyes on the black street, her eyes widened, and her scalp felt numb. How is this going? The ice cream shop at 18 Black Street has been turned into a Sichuan restaurant. The bakery at 17 Black Street turned into a martial arts gym. The jewelry shop at 16 Black Street has been turned into a bar. Zhou Ran didn't notice Natasha's expression at this time, and walked into the Sichuan restaurant first. He was very hungry after a busy afternoon, and now it was time to eat a big meal. Natasha took a deep breath, reached out and patted her face, encouraging herself from the bottom of her heart. Don't be afraid of Black Widow. Do not be afraid. You are a senior agent of S.H.E.L.D. You dare to fight against mutant criminals. Nothing to fear. After encouraging herself, Natasha strode into the store. He quickly sat down beside Zhou Ran. Only by sitting next to Zhou Ran can she feel a touch of reality. After all, everything in front of him is so unfamiliar. It's not the same as when she came to the ice cream shop before. Zhou Ran smiled, handed over the menu in his hand, and asked Natasha, "Miss Ellie, what would you like to eat?" Natasha suppressed the complicated and indescribable feeling in her heart, forced a smile on her face, and said, "What does boss usually eat?" "Then order what you want. You must be familiar with this Sichuan restaurant." "I know more." Hearing this, Zhou Ran nodded, put down the menu, and shouted with a smile, "Lao Mo, what are you doing? Why haven't you come out for reception? Is it because I don't have enough coffee seats? You're the only busy person who came so late." A middle-aged Asian who was a bit lazy lifted the curtain covered by the kitchen, yawned, walked over, and sat in front of Zhou Ran. Zhou Ran couldn't help but shook his head and said, "Old Mo, I don't know what kind of grudge you have with that Green Franklin. There is such a good shop, but you are still so lazy. How do you make your whole person so sloppy?" The middle-aged Asian named Lao Mo yawned, glanced at the Black Widow, smiled at Zhou Ran, and asked, "Brother Zhou, why did you come with such a beautiful lady this time? Does it match you? Could it be that this is my younger brother and sister? Then I should give her a red envelope." Zhou Ran coughed lightly, shook his head, and said, "Miss Ellie, she is my personal assistant. I don't have a place to live at the moment. I live with me. Just got off work. Didn't you bring her to visit your shop on purpose? After all, your business here is really bleak." When Lao Mo heard this, he sighed lightly and said with a smile, "Hey, Brother Zhou, you are the strangest person I have ever met. Such a beautiful woman can't enter your heart. I really don't know what you like, woman." Zhou Ran smiled and said, Old Mo, you really asked me this question, and I don't know what kind of woman I like. Just now, a strange feeling arose in my heart. At that moment, the woman seemed like a skeleton to me, a pink skeleton. You should understand what I mean. Lao Mo nodded and said with a smile, Indeed, in the first part of my life, I loved women to death, but now I don't like women at all. There are too many fun things in the world, and women have made me lose interest. Now, you may have passed the previous part earlier and came to this part of me. Of course, it is also possible that you have not met the woman who makes your whole soul beat, and you want to become a moth, ruthless, pounce hard on that blazing fire. Zhou Ran gave a thumbs up and said with a smile, Lao Mo, it's really comfortable to talk to you. Like an elder, you can always teach me a lot of knowledge. It's true that there is an elder in the family, if there is a treasure. Lao Mo suddenly patted his head and asked, By the way, Brother Zhu, you should have had no headaches for many years. The last time you had a headache was probably when we first met, and you fell to me at that time in front of the store. After hearing this, Zhou Ran gave a wry smile and said, I thought it was okay, but I just committed it again. I feel like a big watermelon has been stuffed in my head, and it's going to explode. Lao Mo frowned and said in a doubtful tone, That's really weird. Zhou Ran rolled his eyes and said with a smile, Lao Mo, you say you are a cook, so what are you doing as a doctor? Have you forgotten your job? I'm a little hungry. Lao Mo scratched his head in embarrassment and said, Indeed, I'm just a cook. Lao Mo smiled and said, By the way, do you want to try a new dish I developed recently? The name of this dish is Hell's Feast. Zhou Ran nodded and said with a smile, Okay, this name sounds good, and it is much more domineering than the wailing of Lucifer last time. After Lao Mo listened, he bowed to the two of them, then snapped his fingers and said very elegantly, Please wait a moment. Having said that, he turned and walked towards the back kitchen. When Lao Mo walked into the back kitchen, the Black Widow took a deep breath and asked very nervously, Boss, don't you think that Lao Mo's eyes were so scary just now? And this shop is also very strange. It's very quiet, too quiet. Zhou Ran shook his head and said, Is it scary? I think it's okay. Is it weird? Why don't I think so? Miss Ellie, you may be the reason why you came here for the first time. It should be good to come a few more times. As for terror, Lao Mo told me the reason. He said that he used to be a mercenary for a while and killed a lot of people. He said that he was on the Tao and had a very domineering nickname, Hell Host. However, I don't believe it. Who hired a cook to kill? He must have killed a lot of pigs. Alas, this is a cook who likes to joke very much. Chapter 16 The Feast of Hell. Natasha frowned and silently remembered the name of the Lord of Hell that Zhou Ran said. She is going to ask the director, Is there such a mercenary in the world? That terrifying look is definitely not what a cook should have. Natasha smirked and echoed, According to boss, he is really an interesting cook. Zhou Ran nodded and said with a smile, You'll know if you come here a few times. Lao Mo is very interesting to talk about. Besides, he has extremely profound wisdom and is a good teacher and friend. He also has a unique temperament, which is very attractive people. Hearing the words, Natasha nodded and said, Well, that's true. His manner is very elegant, and the style of bowing and snapping his fingers just now has the feeling of an English gentleman. It seems that for a moment, he doesn't another lazy and sloppy middle-aged man, but an ancient aristocrat. The two chatted for a while. Lao Mo smiled and opened the curtain of the back kitchen, holding a plate of vegetables in his hand, and came to the two of them. He put the dish on the table gently and said with a smile, Brother Zhu, come and try it. This is the dish I've been thinking about for a long time. Zhou Ran looked at the dish and couldn't help but give Lao Mo a thumbs up. That's not a dish but a work of art. An extremely beautiful, stunning piece of art. What kind of art is that? In a fiery red magma, a female angel with 6 white wings was tied to the dining table by countless dark chains, but surprisingly, the angel's face was covered with mercy, no fear and panic. There are 10 big demons sitting around the dining table. These 10 big demons have different expressions. Some are laughing, some are gloomy, some are sad, some are excited, some are painful, some are proud. The Black Widow looked at the dish in front of her, and only felt creepy all over her body, and her whole body fell into a wonderful feeling, and that wonderful feeling was fear and worship. Her eyes were fixed on the dish in front of her, and she gradually lost consciousness and froze. Among these 10 big demons, the only one Zhou Ran can recognize is the fallen angel Lucifer with 6 black wings. After all, the demon with angel wings should be the only one in Western mythology. Lao Mo smiled, sat opposite Zhou Ran, and asked, "Brother Zhou, how is this dish?" "This is a work that I have been thinking hard about and searched all my memories to complete." Zhou Ran nodded and replied with a smile, "Lao Mo, it's worth noting that you are a bit underpowered to be a cook. You should be a great artist. If this is a sculpture, it feels like it would sell for tens of millions of dollars, isn't it?" What a difficult thing. When Lao Mo heard this, with a happy smile on his face, he blinked and asked, "I'm a little curious. Who will the chopsticks in your hand pick first?" Zhou Ran frowned, thought for a moment, and said with a smile, "Eat the one I know first. Just the fallen angel Lucifer with 6 wings. And last time you made a wailing of Lucifer." After all, he put the chopsticks on Lucifer's wings and tugged hard, tore off the fallen angel's wings and put them into his mouth to eat. Zhou Ran asked with a smile, "Old Mo, what do you think real Lucifer's wings would taste like?" A strange light flashed in Lao Mo's eyes. He applauded and laughed. "Brother Zhou, you really dare to think about it. Lucifer is the Lord of Hell. Who can eat his wings?" After eating Lucifer, Zhou Ran put the chopsticks on the female angel's wings and asked, "Lao Mo, who is this female angel?" Lao Mo smiled and replied, "Do you remember the story I told you last time? Lucifer's lament. Lucifer in heaven fell into an evil fallen angel for love. Could this be his lover? Yes, this female angel is Archangel Gabriel and Lucifer's most beloved woman. Isn't it right? Since it is love, why eat it? And in your work, Lucifer is not even sad, but full of laughter. Oh, it's a complicated question about divinity, humanity, and demonic nature. Lucifer at this moment is no longer a poor angel mourning for love, but a demon in hell who will not do anything. Strange. Because demons have problems with their brains, none of them are normal." Hearing this, Zhou Ran was stunned for a moment, and then his eyes fixed on the old Mo who was talking, with a very exaggerated smile on his face, and said, "Oh, there is something wrong with the brains of the demons. Are they like me?" Lao Mo was stunned for a moment, then laughed loudly. "Ha ha, we met last time, Mr. Clown. That should have been the night 7 years ago. However, I don't really want to see you. I'd rather see someone who can really the doctor who tastes the food. His mind is as high as hell, and he calls human beings the silent lambs." The clown twisted his neck, made a creaking sound, and said with a smile, "Mr. Devil, you should be glad that it is night. If it was day, you should be crushed into scum by now. After all, this dish is full of corruption. And I'm a kinder person who loves to laugh. Everyone will like me, because I'm a joker." Lao Mo smiled and asked, "Mr. Clown, I really want to know what kind of existence he is, that brother who gave Zhu a headache today. So far, I should have only seen 3 different Zhu. One is you clown, one is a doctor, and the other is a great being that I dare not approach. I saw that great existence just before sunset. He should be Zhu during the day." The clown raised his eyebrows and put his chopsticks on a female demon. "This is a very good-looking demon." He put the female demon in his mouth, chewed it hard, and laughed. "Great existence. This is really a difficult question to answer, because there is only one great existence in my heart, and that is my creator, my God, Jake, the ordinary person who just talked to you. As for everyone else, it's a me. It's all it doesn't deserve the word great. Of course there's half a great being, and it's a monkey. It's a little monkey who will bring a very interesting picture to the world." But the brother who gave Jake a headache today can still tell you, after all, you haven't done anything dangerous so far. It's really a weird devil, by the way, you little devil. Do you want to be Satan? When Lao Mo heard the words, he was stunned for a while. His black eyes turned white, radiating dazzling brilliance, and said excitedly, Satan. Which devil doesn't want to be Satan? Satan who rules all hell. Mr. Clown, you can tell me how can I be Satan? If I can really succeed, I am willing to divide the whole hell with you. I want to be Satan in the true sense. The clown snapped his fingers and said with a smile, Jai, this is very simple. The brother who gave Jake a headache today is a very powerful being. He is transformed by the darkness in Jake's heart. He wants to rule the earth. He should temporarily call it Superman. When he announced Superman to the world for the first time, before he fully revealed his vast and magical power, you began to encourage those Hell Lords to invade the earth. And he helped you kill other Hell Lords and build a bright and stalwart image. And you can swallow those hells. After listening to the clown's words, Lao Mo felt a little weird and asked very curiously, Superman? Is he really that strong? He's not very strong, he's super strong. So far, no one has survived his 2 punches. He can smash the earth with 1 punch and punch through dimensions with 1 punch. Little devil, why do you only have food and no red wine here? To know delicious food, you need to pair it with a little red wine. It tastes even better. The humble author asks for votes online. Dear readers and gentlemen, my dear parents, can you cast the small votes in your hands? C, thank you. Little c, let's go to the code word. I believe readers' dads don't want to read too short. I want to read another chapter 2 buys in. I love you. Chapter 17 Ancient One. As soon as it comes, let it go. Lao Mo smiled, stretched out his finger and swiped lightly in the air, and a circular red wormhole appeared. Then he reached in and took out a bottle of blood-red liquid, and the red wormhole disappeared in an instant. Lao Mo put the bottle of blood-red liquid on the table, yawned, and asked, Mr. Clown, do you want to try this bottle of hell blood? So far, no demon has been able to resist its smell. So far, no demon has been able to drink a whole bottle. Oh, yes, me too. Hearing the words, the clown picked up the blood of hell. His eyes were full of madness, and he grinned exaggeratedly, saying, it sounds good. I'll try. The clown unscrewed the bottle of hell blood and drank it gyudon. There was also a very curious look in Lao Mo's eyes. He really wanted to know if the Mr. Clown in front of him could achieve this miracle. You must know that this blood of hell seems to be just a small bottle, but there is actually a vast ocean inside. 7 years ago, when he met the clown for the first time, Lao Mo felt a sense of fear. At that time, Zhou Ran collapsed in front of his shop, and he had not signed a contract with humans for a long time. There is such a human being in front of his shop, which makes Lao Mo extremely happy. This is the soul that was delivered to the door, and it is not that he took the initiative to collect the soul. He did not break the agreement, nor did he persecute human beings for no reason. The bald man on the Himalayas could not do anything to himself. As an honest archmage, a great bald-headed supreme, he will never take the initiative to break the rules he has set. Lao Mo took out the soul contract with great joy, picked up the human's hand, and prepared to press on the contract. But the human suddenly opened his eyes, and there was an insane laugh on his face. The human looked at him playfully and asked, you little, are you ready to do this? What? Do you want to do something bad? Why don't you laugh? Why don't you laugh? Oh, damn. I'm a bad clown. I can't make you laugh. It's too bad. Failed on my first day as a clown. I'm probably the worst clown ever. What do I do? I'm going to cut your face with a knife so you can laugh like I do. Why so? Lao Mo was stunned, looking at the strange human being in front of him, who was more talkative than himself. He felt a trace of fear in his heart. This human seemed to be slowly assimilating him. Madness and chaos are constantly pounding his soul. It was an incomparable madness, an incomparably great chaos. Lao Mo recovered and shook his head. Mr. Clown, he should be able to do it. After all, that kind of madness and chaos is so charming that it even made him, the great devil in hell, fall to the ground. Himalayas. Kamatage. The great supreme mage Gu Yi opened her eyes full of wisdom, and she frowned. A latitude space was open just now. That is the latitude of Hell Lord Mephisto. Mephisto is a very powerful demon. This is a demon who likes human souls. As the supreme mage, Gu Yi guards the mysterious side of the earth, isolates all the mysterious enemies that are dangerous to the earth, and prevents monarchs from other latitudes from invading the earth. It is her responsibility. Master Gu Yi stretched out his hands, opened a golden portal, stood up, and walked towards where Mephisto was. A murderous intent flashed in her eyes. Mephisto, you are courting death. They come, the security. Since you are here, then you should be buried here. In the latitude of hell, I, the supreme mage, Gu Yi, may be open to you. But on earth, I, the supreme mage, the ancient one, can hit you 5 Mephistos with one hand. 18 Black Street. In Lao Mo's Sichuan restaurant, a golden portal lights up. Then a bald-headed powerhouse wearing an orange monk's robe, the eye of Agamotto on his neck, and a violent killing intent, walked out of the portal. It is the Supreme Master Gu Yi of Kamatarsh. Master Gu Yi looked at Lao Mo with a cold face, and said in a cold voice, "In 10 seconds, go back to your latitude. Otherwise, Mephisto, you can sleep here forever." When Lao Mo heard this, he frowned and said with a cold face, "Gu Yi, are you going to violate your agreement?" Gu Yi snorted coldly. A golden magic sword lit up in his hand, pointed at Mephisto's face, and said, "Mephisto, you broke the rules first. You opened the latitude of hell, and your wolf ambitions are finally hidden. No more. Today is your day of death." After all, Gu Yi pointed to the clown who had been drunk and confused, and said, "This is the evidence. This is the soul you want to take away this time. What else do you want to quibble about?" Lao Mo sighed helplessly and said, "He just drank a whole bottle of hell's blood. Is he a little drunk?" When Gu Yi heard the words, he became even more angry. Originally, there was only one golden magic sword, but it became 2 golden magic swords, and the eye of Agamotto on his chest also burst into a dazzling light. Gu Yi said angrily, "Mephisto, what are you arguing with me? How can a human drink a whole bottle of hell blood? Even a drop will kill you. Mephisto, how dare you tell such an outrageous lie?" After saying the word, Gu Yi held 2 golden magic swords and killed Lao Mo. As expected of the supreme mage, the first person in the wizard world. Melee mage, really scary. The clown slowly opened his eyes and saw the supreme mage Gu killed Lao Mo with 2 golden magic swords in his hands. He couldn't help laughing and said in a frantic manner, "Ha ha ha, come on, Lao Mo. Hit me up. You are a big devil. Hiccup. This blood of hell is a little too strong, a little better." Lao Mo was a lazy ass rolling around, without the slightest demeanor of a hell lord, and escaped Gu Yi's attack with great shame. "Gu Yi, you heard it too. I didn't confuse his soul. I really just opened latitude and took a bottle of hell blood. I really didn't do anything bad," Lao Mo said, extremely aggrieved. "This damn bald head, if you are in the latitude of hell, look at me. Mephisto, don't kill you." Hearing this, Gu Yi frowned, took back the golden magic sword, turned to look at Zhou Ran, and an incredible look appeared on his face. "This human being has several souls on his body." No, not several souls. Is a soul divided into several parts? Each one has a magical power. Now this soul in charge of the body is an extremely crazy and chaotic existence. And going deeper, she also saw a mass of darkness thicker than Dormammu. After the darkness, there are 3 incomparably bright existences. The 3 rays of light are sleeping at the moment. He shouldn't have much influence on the future. Gu Yi turned his head, glanced at Mephisto indifferently, and said, "I'll spare you this time. Don't be discovered by me. You extract the soul of human beings. Otherwise, even if you escape to the latitude of hell, Guyi will have a way. Kill you. After all, Guyi reached out and opened a golden portal, and returned to Kamatage in an instant. Chapter 18. Zhou Ran. Lao Mo, I know, you are Mo Du. Watching Guyi leave, Lao Mo opened his mouth wide, gasped heavily, and a thin layer of sweat appeared on his forehead. Damn it! Guyi is so strong again. How did she get stronger again? Compared with Guyi, the supreme mage, how do I feel that Mephisto, the Lord of Hell, is actually a good person? Guyi's rolling murderous aura was really terrifying. This damn bald head. When I unify hell and become Satan, I want you to look good. She summoned 2 golden magic swords in an instant just now, and activated the Eye of Agamotto, so she was about to become the Trinity Washandi. I can see it. Guyi really wants to kill me. This is by no means the reason why I secretly opened Hell Latitude and took out a bottle of wine. Guyi was definitely a long-planned murder. The clown blushed, stretched out his hands to separate the hair on both sides, and slammed his head on Mephisto's head, staring at Mephisto's eyes with a pair of confused eyes, and a very incomparable expression appeared on his face. Laughing wildly, that smile stretched all the way to the ears. The clown burped a wine burp with the smell of hell blood and blew it directly on Mephisto's face. The way you looked just now was really funny. You were scared by that bald woman and turned into a chico. Damn, I'm going back the blood of your hell a little bit strong. I need to digest a jai. Goodbye, your majesty Satan in the future. Chaos has always been with you. Why so? Ha 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 ha. As soon as he finished speaking, the clown closed his eyes and collapsed on the chair. Seeing this, Lao Mo couldn't help shaking his head. Oh, by the way, there is also a woman sitting there who was shocked and shuddered at the spiritual level by the great work of Mephisto, the Lord of Hell. Wake her up too. Lao Mo smiled and first read a strange incantation with psychological hints, which would allow the woman to add a psychological hint to herself. As for Brother Zhu, there is Mr. Clown's chaos, so I don't need to work hard. Lao Mo reached out and snapped his fingers. Natasha woke up, wiped the sweat on her forehead, fanned her mouth with her hand, stuck out her tongue, smiled at Zhou Ran, and said, "Boss, this Sichuan food is really delicious. It's exactly the same as you describe it in the car. Eating it has a very hot taste, like a fire, blooming from the mouth, burning the entire stomach, and then a fine layer of sweat on the forehead. Ellie will be greatly satisfied from the inside out. It's just a little spicy. It's really spicy." Zhou Ran nodded, smiled and praised. "Yes. This is a Sichuan restaurant. Sichuan cuisine is very spicy. Lao Mo's Sichuan cuisine is very authentic, full of hometown flavor. It's rare to have such a hometown flavor in New York. All Chinese restaurants are making concessions, catering to Americans for the Green Franklin. Those restaurants don't have that pure taste anymore. Their cuisine has lost its soul. This is what I admire the most about Lao Mo. He can endure loneliness and insist on his true heart. He has a soul in cooking." Lao Mo nodded with a smile and said with great joy, "Ha ha ha, I just like listening to Brother Zhu. Your thinking is very advanced, and you can always make sharp comments." After listening to Natasha, she smiled and said, "Yes, boss's thoughts have always been very high. He is a very great person." Zhou Ran just felt extremely embarrassed. The feeling of being praised by others was always weird, which made him uncomfortable. Because he really isn't that great. He just wants to simply follow in the footsteps of Tony Stark, the son of luck in the Marvel world, and then get the protection of this big man who is comparable to the gods in the mortal body. After that, I started driving around, raising a cat or a dog, marrying a wife, finding a few sweethearts, and living a beautiful and happy life together. Such a simple life. Zhou Ran coughed lightly, changed the topic of whether he was great or not, smiled at Lao Mo, and asked, "By the way, Lao Mo, can you tell me about the dish you just made in the Feast of Hell? Who are all the big demons? I'm a little curious. I remember eating a demon like a woman, and it tasted delicious. Who is she?" Natasha nodded and said in agreement, I'm also curious about which demons they are. I just ate a green demon. He has two faces, one on the top of his head and one on his stomach. By the way, he has a pair of goat horns on top of his head, like a standing green lizard. After Lao Mo heard this, he smiled and said slowly, the devil this beautiful lady ate is called Satanish, and the devil that Brother Zhu ate is called Hela. The 10 great demons are Mephisto, Lucifer, Hela, Dormammu, Olivier, Hades, Satanish, S.H.E.L.D, Blackheart, and Sidorak. Among the 10 great demons, the strongest is Mephisto, followed by Dormammu and S.H.E.L.D. The rest are all at the same level. Well, the weakest is Sidorak. But in the true sense, Hela is not a demon. In mythology, she is the daughter of the god King Odin and has the power to control death. Known as Hela, the goddess of death, well, Dormammu is the master of the dark latitude. I read a little about his story in a very old sheepskin book at that time. I was working as a mercenary, facing death every day, and naturally I was curious about the demons in these myths. After all, as you know, there are even mutants in this world, so there should be 2 demons or gods. It doesn't surprise me. Lao Mo lied seriously. He paused and continued. Surtur is a flame giant in Norse mythology. It is rumored that he has a huge flame sword, the Sword of Twilight, which can easily set off eternal fire and burn a whole world. As for Mephisto, he is the most powerful demon in the latitude of hell. He is also very special and likes to sign contracts with humans. Do you know why I think he is the most powerful demon? Because I saw such a story in an ancient book, that Mephisto had a son named Blackheart, and Blackheart was also a lord of hell. Imagine that the son is the lord of hell, his father must be more powerful. Zhou Ran nodded when he heard the words. But he couldn't agree. In his memory, the most powerful hell monarch should be Sedative, the ruler of the Crimson Hell. But this old Mo is really knowledgeable. How do you even know Dormammu, the master of the dark latitude, and know so many demons? Shouldn't be an ordinary person. Momo. Worry, could he be the eldest disciple of the supreme mage, Madhu? Otherwise, how do you know so much? Also ancient parchment books. Isn't that the magic book? And I remember seeing a saying somewhere that Master Guyi is a Chinese. What is his name? Yao. So it makes sense that his apprentice, Madhu, is a Chinese. Alright legends, that's it for today. If you're ready for the next chapter, smash that like button and flood the comments right now. Remember, we've got 3 days to prove this story needs to continue. Subscribe so you don't miss the drop, and I'll meet you in the next audiobook.